All right, good Sunday. Well, just about afternoon. It's just about noon right now. I'm Power of 5 meteorologist Trent Magill. Thanks for joining the stream. We're out here to talk about this right here, severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for essentially Norwalk through Mansfield, about the Lexington area. So we'll watch this line rolling in. This is part of that line that I was tracking out on Good Morning Cleveland just about an hour and a half ago, developing across western Ohio, and then now it's rolling into some air that's pretty warm and pretty steamy, pretty fueled, rolling into some area where we're going to see some more thunderstorms. Did have some heavier rain roll through the islands. Most of that is up over the lake right now. Nothing severe with that, and by severe, I mean nothing damaging. The potential for damage is why the warnings are sparked in a lot of spots. The wind gusting to about 60 miles per hour and the potential for 1-inch hail. With this particular system right here, we'll zoom in on it. We'll show you what it has, and the reason the National Weather Service has issued these warnings is A, because of the wind potential. We'll throw the velocity on. I'll take the lightning off. There's a lot of lightning with this. Let's see if we can pause this real quick. It's very far away from the radar, so it's hard to see what the ground wind actually is, but you're seeing some brighter colors near like Willard, maybe some gusty winds you're seeing right in here. I think I can actually put a little query mark on it. Yeah, 30 with that. Doesn't look impressive, but what is impressive is when we go back to reflectivity, that area right there, there's the potential for some hail. You see some of those brighter colors? I'm going to zoom in on it for you. That's the joys of this stream and this whole setup, having the laptop, having the computer right here at my fingertips. Right next to Steuben, that right there, there's likely some hail with it. Now it's heading east into Boughtonville, North Fairfield, eventually Fitchville, right along New Haven to Delphi. We'll see that line rolling through. That's what I'm watching for right now. There's another line just to the south of that that's pushing into like the Shelby area. This is just through New Washington. There's Tyro, DeKalb, Auburn Center. Those little bursts right there, those storms, they're growing vertically, they get strong, and then they just fade away. They drop all their hail, and they have to recycle themselves, essentially. So you're going to get some gusty winds with that heading into Shelby. You're also going to get the potential for some pretty large hail. That's why the warning was issued. There's a potential for hail, and I think those winds are going to be pretty gusty as well. Moving off to the southeast pretty quickly. I mean, these are cruising, probably 40, 45 miles per hour. We'll track it at 40 just to give you a good idea of when they're going to be rolling in. Let me zoom out just a little bit here. Put a track on the leading edge of this whole line here. Didn't draw it. Is it going to let me do it? Bear with me. We're remoted in, so we're going to try to make this work for us this morning. Put the track on the leading edge of this whole line here and just kind of track it on through. About 40 miles per hour. Puts it in Shelby within the next few minutes. Greenwich just after that. Fitchville 1207, Crestline 1208. Galleon and Ruggles about 1210 to 1215. So moving in pretty quickly. Also moving out pretty quickly as well. Some good news with it being so quick that you do have it moving pretty quickly. It moves in quickly, yes, but it also moves out quickly. I've got your comments pulled up here also. You can comment below on YouTube, Facebook, wherever you are. If you're on my Facebook page, thank you very much. If you're not, head on over to Trent Magill, and give me a follow, give me a like, and you'll get these updates all the time. I just post nonstop weather stuff. So if you like weather info, that's where you need to be. Gretchen says, will they be able to get their 1:40 game in at Progressive, the Guards? I do think they get it in. Might be a brief delay here and there, but I do think they get the game in. Not too worried about the game, but there is some lightning, of course. We'll have to watch that. Again, it's 12 o'clock, so you're going to see stuff like this. Let me show you what I'm talking about. I'll zoom out just a bit, and we'll kind of give you a Guardians forecast. It's this line that's rolling in. Behind it, there's not a whole lot. This is your line right here. It's just some showers, so maybe a brief delay with it. Again, a lot of this should be through by 1:40, but pregame stuff, they've still got to get through. Tarps on the field, off the field, that kind of stuff. But there's not a whole lot. There's a lot of breaks in the activity on the back side of it, so I do think they get the game in. Which is good news because the Padres, West Coast, what are the odds they're going to come back to make it up, right? They're going to do what they can to get that game in today. That's for sure. North Coast, Patty, had no idea storms were approaching. That's why we do this stuff. Yeah, you may not get warnings, you may not get alerts for that stuff in Lorain County, but you hear thunder and you're like, wait a minute, what's going on? You're looking for information? We're here for you. And I know this is popping up in algorithms. It's popping up. I had a friend who doesn't even follow weather stuff, and our YouTube stream popped up in his YouTube algorithm. So it's gaining traction, which is good news. Norwalk through Willard, that's where you got a pretty good cluster of some heavier rain and quite a bit of lightning. I'll turn the lightning back on with it. Something I'm watching is the amount of lightning with these storms. Not a ton with this, so showing signs that this might be weakening just a little bit. But you see these clusters right there, a bunch of clusters near Bucyrus. Still some strength out there. Cleveland, looking at Cleveland Heights today. You just got to wait for this line to roll through, then things should be all right. Things should be all right. You got a lot of dry time today. Do you know if it'll be windy in Marblehead at 4 o'clock tonight? It shouldn't be windy. If you're talking for boat riding, if you're going out on a boat trip or anything like that, 4 o'clock this evening in Marblehead, you're going to have a northwest wind instead of a west wind, so that's going to be a little different direction. Marblehead, it's a west-southwest wind. It should be a little more northwest as this low hangs out. Kind of doesn't hang out, rather, kind of slides east. So you're going to have the wind shifting direction a little bit, so that could give you a little different chop. But I would expect 1 to 3 footers. 1 to 3 footers on the lake. All right, so let's zoom in on this. We got another couple scans in here. I want to zoom in and track where this warning is. Southern Huron County. Right now, you've got this cluster. That's the potential for maybe some damage in there with some of the hail. That's what the warning is for. Anytime you see a warning, that's the National Weather Service saying, hey, check out this storm. The potential for damage is there, either hail or wind. Yes, there's a ton of lightning with it near New Washington. That's heading towards Shelby. Mansfield, you're included in this severe thunderstorm warning. Ashland, no, but it's still going to be strong as it rolls through. Is it going to be damaging? We're borderline with it right now anyway, so we're not talking about widespread damage with this system. Okay. Let's see if we can get some more, answer some more questions. Lots of questions about plans today. Let's answer them. Here's Put-in Bay. Big old boat getting ready to go out after the storm. See you later. Hopefully you enjoyed your time. I can show you a future cast. It's actually, they've been doing all right. They've been actually doing pretty well as far as timing with all this. I mean, look at this. When the models can show you where the storms are right now, and it's a model, so that's not the actual radar, but it's very close to what's going on. They're doing a pretty good job of it. So through 12 o'clock, see it rolling on through. It's 12 o'clock right now. Let's go to the next hour or two. Look at it rolling through. And that was fast. Hold on. I'm going to manually drag us through here. Here's coming up on 2 o'clock. So over the next hour or two, that line rolling into very favorable air. Again, we've got 80s. We don't have them yet, but we're going to have low 80s, lower and middle 80s. So that's heat. So these thunderstorms rolling through, there's no real reason for them to weaken. If you're expecting this line to just fall apart, there's no reason for it to just fall apart. At least not yet. We've got the heating of the day. Thankfully, they're rolling through now, and it's not like peak heating. You're not talking 4 o'clock. If this line was 4 hours later, then these storms would be a lot stronger. But because they're rolling through at noon, things are actually tolerable, manageable. But there's still going to be some strong storms rolling through. We'll watch that. We'll watch this line. I do expect it to continue to roll in. 150 first pitch for the Guards game. Look at this, by 3 o'clock, it's pulling out of here. You've got Feast. Yeah, you've got a couple hours there where you're going to have to deal with some strong storms. It starts at, it's now, it's 12 o'clock. yeah, you're going to have this line rolling in, feast of the Assumption. But after that, look what's behind it. And the humidity is going to start dropping. It'll still be super muggy today, but tomorrow you'll really notice a big change. So the line tries to pull out of here by 3 or 4 o'clock. It's quick. It's very quick. Now, it's not just all the way gone. There we go. This is what I was trying to hint at here. A couple thunderstorms do try to pop up throughout the afternoon and evening hours. I mean, there's not a lot. It's a northwest flow. It's really just the atmosphere trying to get rid of the moisture, trying to squeeze out some of that humidity. That low is still nearby. That front is still nearby. Go through the overnight hours, and there's your dry time. This is trying to pop up. This front's going to be south tomorrow. That model's trying to squeeze some thunder into our southern counties tomorrow afternoon, but it should be relatively limited. I want to show you, check this out. The low, the actual low, look at it right there. That's what's given us this rain. That's what sparked up these thunderstorms. You can see you always get a counterclockwise flow around the low, and that's kind of what was shifting on through. See it up there? Wrapping up, wrapping up, wrapping up. So a low pressure system, you get counterclockwise flow, and it's low pressure, so it's lifting air, and it's lifting up that hot and humid air. So you're getting this driving in here, pushing into this warm, humid air and lifting it up, and that's how you're getting those thunderstorms. So there's no reason these storms are going to fade away. We might go through some cycles, some phases, up and down, intensity, strengthening, decreasing, but this is all untouched air out ahead of it. So this is likely going to have a whole lot of rain for sure. Likely going to keep our lightning going. I mean, there's been more lightning. It's been growing in lightning ever since it started across western Ohio, more and more and more. Maybe a brief little downtick that we're seeing right now, but it'll fire back up. So you've got some hail, a lot of lightning, a lot of heavy rain, and some pretty strong winds with that. Let's pop in the velocity here. Not really showing, not seeing a whole lot because it is so far away. I mean, the radar is like over 2,000 feet high. These thunderstorms at the surface, I mean, the bottom of the clouds are like 1,000 feet. So this is not giving us real big, not giving us real good ground truth with it. Shannon is saying, when will the humidity go down? Soon, Shannon, soon. Tomorrow will still be muggy. Don't get me wrong. It's still August. It's still going to be warm and muggy, but much less humid than what today is. Today is super sweaty. Super sweaty. All right. Do you think flights will be delayed? And how soon, Amanda? Talking about flights. That's tough. That's tough. A lot of planes can take off and like right up until there's those storms rolling through. So if you're talking about Cleveland Hopkins, they might not delay. Look at this. This is going to stay up over the lake. It shouldn't be an impact for Cleveland. And it looks like this is sinking to the south. If this reconnects or redevelops over the next probably hour or two, then potentially, I mean, we'll put a map on it, or we'll draw it out. It's going about 40 miles per hour. So over the next maybe 30, 45 minutes, we're going to see this approaching, or at least where that line would be. So if you do get some delays, I think they're brief. If Hopkins has any delays. Okay. Peggy, on a motorcycle, yeah, it's tough. I've been in it, been caught in these downpours. No fun. No fun. You don't really have windshield wipers on a motorcycle. If you're wearing a helmet with a visor, you've got two windshields essentially. Both get soaked. If you hold your head at the right angle, it'll blow the water drops off your face shield. Brutal, not fun. Not fun. How far is Uniontown from this line? Well, let's dive into it. Let's see where we are. Uniontown. We're talking about, what do you got going on this afternoon? It's a pretty stormy afternoon, so no matter where you are, what you're doing, you've still got the potential for some pretty strong storms. So timing it all out is going to be key. Right now, this line is rolling through like basically Richland, and southern Huron counties, but you're going to get into Ashland County. Might clip southern Lorain County. As far as Uniontown is concerned, I think that's near between like Akron and Canton. Is that Summit or Stark County? Uniontown is in, let's see if we can see it pop up in there. All right, right on the county line in Stark County. All right, so let's time it out for you. If you guys have questions, feel free to bring them in here. We'll put a time of arrival. I can edit this to where storm velocity right at about 40 miles per hour. Oh, come on. The leading edge, we'll put it in. Hour and a half. It's all right. So that being said, if anybody's ever tracking this and it's an hour and a half away, this is going to look completely different in even 30 minutes. So hour and a half, you've got some time to get out, but we might see a little bit of development out ahead of it. So just know that you've got some time to go before these thunderstorms roll in. So Paul Greenwell, I think you're doing all right. Just give yourself a couple hours. Medina area, very similar. It's this line is still 30 minutes away. It's 30 miles, going about 40 miles an hour. Jeff, you're my 86-year-old mom's favorite meteorologist. Well, Jeff, tell your mom I said hello and thank you. And even her favorite needs a day off. It's Sunday. All right. So how about Stowe? If you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in here. And then just kind of bear with me because there's over 600 folks in here. We're going to have a lot of questions out here. So basically, the leading edge of this line, this might answer a lot of our questions. This might answer a ton of our questions. I'm going to pause this for a second and put a track on the leading edge. Just this portion. Whoa, let's go back a little bit. Let's go back to 40. Puts it in Savannah at 12:19. It is 12:11 right now, so you've got about 5 or so minutes before it rolls in. You'll notice it's already getting cloudy. It was super sunny for a while there, right? Got warm. Now you're going to get the clouds rolling in. You're going to hear some thunder. Then you're going to get some gusty winds, then some heavy rain. This is trying to gust out a little bit right there. It's still very unorganized, this leading edge. Like I said, it's still early in the day, still very early. If this were 3 or 4 hours later, these storms would have no issues holding together, but they're still going to hold together, just not as much as they would, not growing as much as they would if it was a couple hours later. So again, Savannah 12:19, about 5 or so minutes after that for Huntington. Ruggles right now, Sullivan just before 12:30. So that's that top edge. We can zoom in. There's that warning for that line rolling right in. It does include parts of Wayne and Medina County, southern Lorain County, like we just talked about. South of that, where the next warning will likely be issued, will be along this line, pushing into Ashland County. Puts it in Mansfield at 12:25, Ontario just before that, about 5 or so minutes before that, 5 or 6 minutes in Ontario at 12:19. So that's that line rolling in. Rolling through Shelby right now. Man, there's some pretty good rainfall with this and probably some pretty gusty winds. Let's see if we have any reports. Anybody near Shelby, Shiloh, Willard, New London? If you're in this and if you're in the chat, let me know. Let me know. Give me a report. Let me know what you're seeing. If you saw that shelf cloud roll in, let me know. If you heard the wind, heard the thunder, if you've got heavy rain, I want to know about it. Let me know about it. You don't just have to ask questions here. You guys can absolutely be storm watchers for me as well. We can help spread the message. That way we just know whenever the next towns are involved, we can say, hey, so-and-so in this town saw this, so this is what's coming your way. Radar gives us a great look, a great idea of what's going on, but the best look is out the window, is what you guys are showing us. I'm not saying to go look out the window. I'm just saying that if you see and hear, have any reports, let me know about it. Okay, Mansfield here, still sunny. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? you're probably going to hear thunder relatively soon. Those clouds are going to roll in. You're going to have a shelf cloud in Mansfield. That's a good indication of some pretty strong straight line winds. You're 10 miles away, so you're a matter of a few minutes from seeing that that shelf cloud. Yeah, I can hear some thunder in South Mansfield. So it's sunny with thunder. It's coming your way. I'm going to track this, or we just kind of track this through like Wellington to Lodi and Medina. It is, like I said, going about 40 miles per hour. So we'll stretch this out. I mean, this is 30 minutes essentially to get to Lodi. So it's moving pretty quickly. Moving very quickly. All right. Somebody said a mesoscale discussion issued for... Yeah, all right, so what he's talking about there, that's the SPC in Norman, Oklahoma. They're watching this. I'm not the only one watching this. All the meteorologists that are paying attention to this are watching to it. And I'm going to read their discussion. So, you know, it's not just me looking at this stuff and saying this stuff. Again, I live here. We know the area. We know the topography. It gets hillier for sure, so you're going to get a little bit of fluctuation with it, but there's still a lot of heat, a lot of humidity, and with this low rolling through, I mean, the low's right up here, spinning, and it's pulling this on through. So we're going to watch all this stuff just kind of rotate right on through. And they agree. They're likely going to be issuing a severe thunderstorm watch. That's 80%. So again, they're very confident in everything I've been saying. So yeah, thanks for pointing that out. I don't necessarily read a whole lot of the SPC or the National Weather Service's stuff, just because I'm looking at the same stuff they're looking at also. So thanks for pointing that out. It's always good to have some confirmation in what I'm saying. Geauga County, you're a ways away from it. So that's why I haven't been talking a lot about Leslie. That's why I haven't been talking a whole lot about Geauga County just yet, because you're still, I mean, you're way over here. This storm is on the other side of the map. These showers, there's no even thunder with it, so it's just heavy rain. These downpours up over the lake, just north of Lorain, those are rolling through. I actually have a camera in Vermilion. I think we can look at the Erie shores and islands. Oh, yeah. Oh, just updated. Watch this. So this is Vermilion looking out. And before I clicked refresh, it was rolling through that big downpour that I was just looking at over the lake. So we're looking at these downpours. We've still got people out on the water. Look at him out there behind the desk there. There's no thunder. There's no thunder. There's no lightning with it. I'm not saying there's not going to be any, but there's none with it right now. So it's, you think you're just safe. It's just cloudy. It's just rainy out over the lake. Be careful. Be extremely careful. The potential for thunder is there, especially when you're seeing heavy rain like this. Vermilion, you're on the backside of it, though. So, yeah, they're fine. Rain in Marblehead, rain in Catawba, Sandusky, Put-in Bay, getting soaked. But these little showers right here, there's not even thunder with it. It's just a downpour just north of, Sheffield, just north of Avon Lake. This is the warning. There we go. A little bit of intensification. Just north of New London, heading toward Wellington, heading toward Huntington. Let's see. Getting some questions about tornadoes. Not likely. It's possible. It's not a big concern. It's more or less, so what's going on is you've got all this heat out here, and you've got this bow right here. Those are straight line winds. I'll put the velocity on so we can really get a confirmation of what we've got going on. And just not seeing a whole lot of wind other than, I mean, 40, 50. Let's see if we can find a 60 in here. Not seeing it. So 58 miles per hour. That is the minimum criteria for damage for a severe weather, severe thunderstorm warning. I'm not seeing that. I do see the potential for some hail. Those brighter spots we're seeing. This is a product that we have through our weather vendor here that tells us, it kind of estimates the hail size. It doesn't look like a bunch, but I'll put a little track on this and we can zoom into it. Yeah, half-inch hail. 1-inch size hail is when you start to get in on the potential for damage. But the reason they issued that warning is, I mean, look at it. You've got what looks like a pretty gusty thunderstorm in there. In New London. So this is, all right, this is awesome. Mel, in New London, we could hear the wind coming before it hit. Yeah, that's that. Probably just saw a big shelf, a big cloud, big shelf cloud coming in, and then now it's raining cats and dogs. So yeah, that's it right here where we are. It's where I'm zoomed in on, New London. So you saw that rolling through. Hey, Nova, Huntington. Well, Nova right now, Sullivan, Huntington, Wellington, you're on the leading edge of this. You're going to see some crazy wind with it. Could hear the wind before it hit. Man, that's a great comment. Thank you so much for putting it out there. So now we know for sure, you know, it's not just me talking about it, right? Saying that we're going to see a shelf cloud try to roll in, saying that we're going to see the wind pick up. You've got Mel in New London confirming it. Sullivan, 1226. It is 5 minutes away from Sullivan. Homer's at 1233. Spencer, 1233. And West Salem at 1238. So, I mean, that's pretty quick. It's moving about 40 miles per hour. It's cruising. That's a pretty good clip, pretty good speed for a storm like this. This stuff isn't looking as, I mean, what you look for big wind is that outwards bow, that backwards C. The issue is you've got the upper level. The storm has grown tall enough to where it's diverting the wind aloft to the surface, and it just pushes that storm out. So that's what you're getting at with this right here. That pushing motion is just pushing that storm right on through. So that's pushing across southern Lorraine, northern Ashland, and into Medina and Wayne counties. That's that cluster. Will these warnings get extended? I don't issue them. But I'm telling you right now, there's likely some hail. There's a ton of lightning out there with that. But the potential for straight line wind damage, that's our big concern right there, the big wind with it. Probably going to bring down some trees. It doesn't look like it's nearly as put together there. But, I mean, if you're looking at Mansfield, going into Mansfield, you see these bright yellow or pinks and purples near Five Corners, near Ontario. That's some pretty strong part of that thunderstorm there. John Doe asked, what do shelf clouds mean? Ooh, it's just the leading edge of a thunderstorm. I think I can, here, best way to do it. Google image search. You're going to see, right like this. You're going to see it's just going to look like a spaceship, like Independence Day. That's just the leading edge of that thunderstorm just rolling. It looks like a big shelf. That's what a shelf cloud looks like. And as it rolls in, it's a good indication that those winds are going to be strong. So that's what a shelf cloud is. Great question. Great question. If anybody has any other questions, feel free to let them in there. All right. So I'm getting backed up. Feel like, all right. So hey, please repeat yourself because these comments are flowing through pretty quickly. We've got almost 1,000 people in here. So yes, and I've got all the comments on Facebook and YouTube. My Facebook page, if you're not there, I'm streaming on there as well. Feel free to jump over there and comment there and like there and follow there, and you'll get all that information as well. So is Lakewood going to be okay? Yes. Yes, Lakewood will be okay. Let me zoom in on Lakewood really quickly. Not even under a warning, no issues at all right now, other than this burst of heavy rain. Here we are. Maybe some brief gusts, but we just showed you Vermilion. There's folks out on the water. Avon Lake, it's rain. These are some showers onshore, heavier rain in Elyria. That's like by the turnpike right there. So just just south of the turnpike. Good burst of rain. This is rolling through. As far as Lakewood is concerned, you might have some rumbles of thunder, but there's zero potential for damage with that. So just know that over the next probably hour, you're going to have to deal with that. I can even track this out for you. Ready? We'll put it at about 40 miles per hour. It's not moving as fast, but this is a good estimation. Lakewood at 12:45. So it puts it downtown Cleveland at about 1 o'clock. First pitch for the Guards, 150, so that main batch should be pushing out. There is a little bit of rain on the back side of it, but I still think the game gets in. All right. Let's get back into this. Will Feast be okay? I think yes, it's going on. It's going on just fine. There's going to be a little bit of lightning with it. Again, speaking of the Guards game, speaking of Feast of the Assumption, Little Italy, just on the east side of Cleveland right there. Yes, same thing. Very similar. You're going to get a brief burst of some downpours, some wind, and then it looks like it's just maybe some rain on the backside. I'll put this in motion so we can see. Get a whole look. Yeah. So there's that low still rolling through. You can kind of see the wraparound with it. So it's going to pull all this through. I think these strong storms likely stay south of Cleveland, south of Little Italy, south of the game, south of the Feast. But they're going to be rolling toward Akron. You got a big air show, Props and Pistons Festival. They've just started probably 30 minutes ago. Started with the flights, with the demonstrations and everything, and you've got a couple more hours before it rolls in. Time of arrival. Yeah, about an hour. Moving so quick. Moving so quick. Let's see what we got. Lots of questions. So many questions. Why do storms happen this time of year? Why do lots of storms happen this time of year? John Doe, same question. You had the same question about the shelf cloud. Good questions, great questions. This time of year, well, it's midsummer, right? It's the middle. It's the dog days of summer. It's August. We're talking about heat and humidity. That's fuel. Heat and humidity is all fuel. And these cold fronts, these systems that are going to give us the week we have coming up, they try to roll in. Hot and cold air, they don't mix. And that battleground between that battle zone where the hot and cold are trying to, jockey for position, that's where you get these thunderstorms. Great question. Great question. Really got to watch this line right here, the leading edge of this line. I'm going to zoom back in. Because this is the most important part of this, the most defined. Wellington, Huntington, Sullivan, and sliding east. Sliding east pretty quickly. Very quickly, actually. We can actually find out exactly how fast it's going. Let's see here. Over the last 30 minutes, it was right here 30 minutes ago. Now, it's here. And it's bowing out. So with this, we can measure in 30 minutes, it went 20 miles. So it's going 40 miles per hour, same speed, cruising. Now that we know that, we'll put a track on it. We've confirmed that it's going 40 miles per hour. Here we go, Sullivan, 1229 right now, essentially. It's pushing in. You probably have that big shelf cloud essentially rolling over, winds picking up. Homer, 1235, so give it about 5 minutes here. It'll be pushing into Homer. Spencer, same time. Chatham, 10 minutes after that. West Salem, right about that time as well. Same thing for Lodi. So we're going to watch this whole bow roll on through. Straight line winds. Let's see if we can see the velocity with it. Not showing a whole lot of wind with it. We know it's there, but again, that radar is still out there. It's closer, so we're getting pretty good. We're getting a really good indication of the wind at the surface. And it's just not showing a whole lot. There's a couple little pockets in there that might be, I mean, yeah, you might get some brief 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts with that, but when you look at the reflectivity, it looks like it's really cranking. Probably some pretty good hail with it as well, half-inch to 1-inch size hail. This part right here on the back side from Sullivan to Savannah, heavy rain for sure. I'll turn the lightning on just to confirm a couple things. Yeah, no real lightning in there. So this is kind of weakening, kind of breaking apart, but this is a little cluster that we're going to watch. It might even hook a little farther to the north as we get into probably the next hour. Over the next hour, we'll start to see it. Maybe just trying to hook off to the north. Remember, that low is just to the north, and it's pulling things around. I can show you what I mean by that. I zoomed out way too far. Zoomed out way too far. But here you go. This is over the last 3 hours. You can see the counterclockwise flow of the low pushing right through. So your low is right up here over the lake. And what it's doing is it's going to be pulling things around. This will roll through again, and you can watch look at the direction of these. They roll north. And now once they do roll north, they tend to weaken a bit. This is holding together right along the lake shore, but this is where the big strength is. Yeah, there's that warning that has been expired. They didn't issue it for Ashland County. Told you it didn't have good signs of big strengthening or anything like that. But that cluster out ahead of it, that one's going pretty well. Heavy rain though, man alive, is that some heavy rain over areas that don't need any more rain. I mean, this has just been getting dumped on over the last week. These areas, I don't want to go 3 hours here. I'm going to shorten this up a little bit. But over the last week, it's just been dumping on so many towns. The flood concerns are not good. So there's the warning right there with it gusting out. Again, not seeing much wind with it on radar, but if you've got wind out there, let me know about it. Had a report from New London. Yep, absolutely. Not looking for tornadoes by any means. The thunder is well back behind it, so you're not seeing a whole lot of growth out ahead of it. It's maintaining, but it's not really growing. The peach or the tan color box you're seeing there, that's just a strong thunderstorm, a weather statement essentially. So it's not a warning or anything like that. It's just saying that they're watching that, the National Weather Service is, and we've been watching it also. This is the area that I am watching. Not a lot of lightning with it as well, but it is moving into warm, humid air, so we'll watch it. And I do think as it's showing signs, it might start to hook a little farther to the north. So even though like Earhart, Abbeville, Brunswick, not in the warning, I mean, you're close. Litchfield, you're right there. Just be careful. Spencer, you're seeing that line roll in right now. So yeah. Weather in Lorain County. What about Tuscarawas County? Massillon area. Let's get into it. Let's show you where we are. Let's show you where we are. I can walk you through the Futurecast. Akron looks good. Look at the sun shining off that building right here, right behind my head. Got the reflection. It's beautiful. Don't let these storms sneak up on you, though. Worcester, we'll get a little before. Worcester looks good. Worcester looks good. Cleveland looks great. You can see that rain, though. Here's the stadium. Here's Progressive. They got first pitch at 1:50. They'll have to put the tarp on briefly, but I don't expect a big delay. Like I said this morning, maybe a brief delay. Sailing out there, sailboats. It's a southwest wind. That wind's going to shift more to the northwest, west really, and then northwest this evening. So I'd probably stay behind the break wall with this line rolling in that wind shift. But I'm also not a professional sailor, so yeah. Here's your line. Here's your future cast. I want to walk you through this future cast here. There you go. By 2, we'll stop it at 3 o'clock. Gone. Sliding out of here. Pushing through off of that 71 corridor, pushing through Akron. So as far as a brief delay to most outdoor things. Feast, India Independence Day. You name it. Guards, air show in Akron. You name it. Brief delay. Look at that push. Starting to see some more thunder just to the north of this. Oh. Well, no thunder rather, but we're starting to see some heavier rain. Eaton, Fields, Elyria, pushing into North Olmsted. That heavier stuff is up over the lake. This is trying to build. We might get a little bit of thunder from that in the next few minutes here. This out ahead of it, Penfield, starting to see a little bit of thunder out ahead of it. It's very warm and very moist air out ahead of this whole line. So there we go. We got loud thunder and lots of rain in Wellington. Yeah, quite a bit of rumble there. I'll zoom out just a little bit so you can see Wellington in there as well. You're right on the northern edge in Wellington of this whole cluster right there. That's what she's talking about. Corrine Blackstone talking about thunder and lightning and lots of rain. Well, you're almost done with it. You got a few more minutes, and then that heavy rain should settle down with just some showers on the back side of it. Sawyer right there, Lorain County. Weather in Lorain County. You're asking for weather right there. It is the center of the screen right there. If you're looking for Lorain County, here it is. Elyria, burst of rain. Grafton, you're good for now. You got a lot of lightning and thunder just to your south in Wellington, southwest, rolling right on in. So Grafton, Litchfield, Strongsville, Brunswick, maybe even Medina getting in on this. You see how the direction from this has changed a little bit? It's moving a little bit off towards the northeast. So I'm actually going to track it that direction, and that might be just enough to help it keep together, because not a lot of this is really showing signs of strengthening, but maintaining is the concern. So there we go. Litchfield, 1245. Lafayette, 1250, 1255 for Medina. There we go. Seville, you should be a little bit farther south. You're still going to get in. You're not in the warning. You're right here. Right along 71, right? There's Seville. Watching it roll through. You're going to get some heavy rain. You're going to have some lightning and some thunder. But as far as big hail or damaging wind, just not seeing it. And I'm honestly not seeing a whole lot of wind. It's just not. There's just not. As far as hail, the potential is there, but it's not looking. It's just looking like a ton of rain. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't issue a warning for this portion also, but the potential is still going to be there. Question about Mansfield and Parma. Parma, you're out ahead of it. Let's go to Mansfield and then Parma. Mansfield, here we go. You're in it right now. You've got heavy rain. You've got thunder. You've got lightning. I clicked on the wrong comment. Sorry about that. Mansfield, there it is. There's your heavy rain. Sliding in. Oh, you're behind your name. Lexington, Mansfield, Lucas, no warning. The warning was allowed to expire, but you've got some heavy rain. The lightning, it's all well behind it, meaning that like the intensification out on the leading edge, it's just not there. It's not strengthening, but it's still pretty strong. This is like post-rain, just stratiform rain with some rumbles out there. Still quite a bit of lightning with it, but not as much as there was earlier. This is a big focus, a big topic of focus. Anytime you get these things that kind of bow out like that, you get the big potential for some wind. But now that it's starting to kind of push a little farther northeast, that low has got to be right over Ohio, like right over Lake Erie, rather, not over Ohio. Yeah, there it is. So here's, you always get that counterclockwise flow around the low. So this is just kind of rotating. There's your low right there. As this low slides up and out of here, it's just going to pull this line through. And pull this, start to push that up, start to pull this up. This whole line will just start to rotate on through. So Akron, I think you're still in the mix for some heavy rain. Quite a bit of lightning with it. Heading toward Hudson, yep. Hudson for sure. I don't know that it's going to be that strong when it gets there. Again, it's something that we're going to watch. I'm going to watch closely. Akron, you name it. You name it. We've got it all. How about Berea? Well, here we go. Berea, right about here. There's no lightning with this activity. There is with this. We'll watch this try to rotate through. But as far as Berea is concerned, I don't necessarily think you're going to get much other than some heavy rain. You've got some big-time rainfall. You might hear some rumbles as it's trying to grow, but there's no warnings with it. I'm not seeing any lightning with it right now, but that doesn't mean there's not going to be some lightning with it, in about 5-10 minutes here. I want to pop in temperatures and see where we're at. Because heat and humidity are what fuels these storms. Temps right now, 83 in Cleveland. So this is what I was talking about this morning. We got the heat. I mean, the temperatures are surging. So temperatures are surging out ahead of it. 82, 83, 84. So what I was saying earlier is if we can get into those lower, maybe middle 80s, then you bet we've got some potential. 84 Medina for some strength, And I'm back behind it, 70s. You will recover. You'll get back into the low 80s. Cedar Point today, yeah, brief delays for sure, probably shutting those rides down briefly, but then once the rain clears out, you've got 70s, and the humidity should be dropping. Humidity, sorry, I'm trying to read some of these questions. Wow. Anytime our dew point is near 70, it's an issue. It's super humid. When I'm talking mid-70s, upper 70s, that is some Florida yuck. That is some Florida steaminess, some humidity. That is ridiculously high humidity. We don't get that often. We don't even see 70 often, much less mid-70s. The dew point measures, it essentially measures how much moisture is in the air. It's the temperature the air has to cool to be 100% saturated. So when we've got this much moisture around, the more moisture, the warmer the air can be, the more fuel there is. That's essentially what it is. The warmer air holds more moisture also. So long story short, that's a lot of fuel. That's a lot of fuel. We're boating out on this side of the break wall. How about that? Cleveland, still looking pretty good. Worcester, what are you looking like? Getting darker. Getting darker. Akron, still looking good. Akron's still looking great. Vermilion, still looking okay. Had that rain slide out. Let's see if I can bring up another camera for us. I know Edgewater is looking toward the west. You have the Hilton cam looking at Edgewater. Let's see here. Nice. Jim Perko's in the control room right now, and he's moving the camera for us so you can see out west. It doesn't look like a bunch, right? So this is what we're looking at. On the radar here, we're looking at these showers. So looking west toward Edgewater from downtown, you're looking at these clouds rolling in. Not a lot out over the lake, but just some showers. This is some heavy rain, just trying to slide right in along like 480. There's the turnpike pushing through like North Royalton. That's some heavy rain. The warning, the reason why I'm streaming right now, before we get too distracted and too off topic here, the warning is right here. This is for southern Lorain, which Lorain is pretty much out of the mix for damage. Southern Lorain heading into Medina counties right now. The warning does include northern Wayne County, but there's that next little warning right there. I was going to say this cluster right here isn't going to be an impact, but we are going to watch that line as it tries to roll in. The air ahead of it, it's so moist, it's so warm. It's just waiting for something to spark up and give it some fuel. There's that warning right there. In effect until 1:30. And this warning is in effect until, okay, let me do it, until 1 o'clock for Medina County. So for about another 15 minutes here. But regardless of when the warning expires, this storm is still rolling through. And it's kind of pushing to the north. The part where I'm keeping an eye on here, there's not even seeing much wind with this. Not seeing much wind at all. The potential is going to be just from the hail from this portion right here. And that's what the other product was showing you, where the hail likely is. Makes it a little easier to see. Is purple. There you go. There's another little uptick right there. That might be this product trying to talk about maybe 1-inch hail. Yeah. And we saw that just with the reflectivity. Look at that little burst in there. Little cluster right in there. Hail. Litchfield. Who's in here from Litchfield? Anybody in Litchfield? You've got some hail just to your south. Quite a bit of lightning as well. I think I saw a comment. Here we go. Ryan Davis. Thunder in Litchfield. That's it. We're talking about, no. It says a tornado possible. So, all right, so these thunderstorms, when you get these lines like this, Columbus dealt with it as well, and we deal with this all the time. When you get these thunderstorms like this, talking about the tornado possible, when you get these lines, they're just lines of thunderstorms, convective thunderstorms that are forming in a line. Well, when you get that line and it tries to push out, if you look at like a river, and at this edge of of like the river or a creek or a stream, you get these little eddies, these brief little spin-ups. You got to think of the atmosphere as moisture. It's what it is, as a liquid essentially. And what it's doing is this is pushing through, and as this is pushing through, you can get these brief little spin-ups. So whenever you see something like that on the warning talking about the potential for a tornado, just know that it's not likely, but it's possible. It's possible, and that's why I'm looking at it. That's why I'm streaming right now, so you guys can know about the information. What about the Guards game? We've been talking about that for a little bit here. If you're new to the stream, feel free to comment. Feel free to ask questions. Feel free to send in your reports. Reports are almost more important than the questions, because then we can actually know exactly what's happening on the ground of these. But as far as the Guards game, there's no warnings or anything like that right now for Cuyahoga County, and I don't anticipate any, but I'm watching this little blip right there. You see that little red that's just popped up within the last like 30 minutes? I'll put this in motion. You can see what it's been doing. It was nothing to growing. This is a growing taller thunderstorm eventually. No thunder with it yet, but it's moving into super warm and humid air that hasn't had thunderstorms yet, at least not today. So I can't rule out this trying to strengthen as it rolls through. First pitch is in about an hour, 1:50. So if there's a delay, I wouldn't be surprised if they go put the tarps out on the field. Do I think they get the game in? Absolutely. They're going to try everything they can. It's always tough with the team from the West Coast in town and storms in the forecast. It's really tough for them to come back for one game, a one-game makeup. But how many times do we see the Padres here at Progressive? So I wouldn't be surprised if there is a delay that they still try to get that game in as much as possible. Okay, very dark West Salem and getting windy. Yes. Yes. Let's get to West Salem. You're right on the edge of both warnings. The one here, let's dive into this because I think this is something that might start to be a little more impactful. Yeah, we're starting to see some pretty good wind from this. Starting to see it gust a bit more. 40s, we'll see some of the brighter colors there. 40 mile per hour winds. Yeah, that's what we're watching. And what we're going to look for, and the same thing in the National Weather Service office, is on these leading edges, you're going to look for a little inflow notch, like a little push inward, and that could give us those brief little spin-ups. So that's what they're going to be watching, and that's why there's that possible tag on there. Let's see here. Getting windy, calm in Knox County. Good to hear. Pam says it's just pouring now. West Salem, it's just pouring now. It is. Heavy rain for about 30 minutes, and then it should get lighter. That's the good news. It should get lighter. I still don't want to not pay attention. I don't want to forget about this cluster. This is probably our strongest portion of the storm. I'll turn the lightning off so you can see where it is. But Litchfield to Lafayette to like Chippewa Lake, north of Chippewa Lake, but Litchfield back through Penfield. Chatham, sorry. That's just between Chatham and Litchfield. You've got some of that pink in there. That's where you have the potential for some hail, maybe 1-inch hail. So probably some damage. 1-inch hail is big enough for damage. Roof damage, car damage. It happens. You're welcome, Pam. You're very welcome. Here we go. Friday, I was in Akron previewing, talking about the window that we were going to have for thunderstorms and the window we were going to have for planes to fly around. Akron is, like I said, about 30 minutes ago, Akron is an hour away. This whole line is moving about 40 miles per hour. So the leading edge, whoop, wrong one here. Get off of there. Get off of there. There we go. The leading edge, the whole line. We'll track it about 40 miles per hour. I think it's actually going this direction. So a little farther to the north. Puts it in Medina just before 1 o'clock. Burbank before 1 o'clock, 12:58 for Westfield Center as well. Creston, 105. Canaan, 105. Seville, 106. Granger, 108. Wadsworth, Worcester, both at about 110. Wadsworth, Worcester, not even in the same county, same time though, because this is a large line that's going to be trying to roll through. So just be careful. Be extremely careful because there's quite a bit of lightning with it as well. Not as much as there was earlier. Man, this is showing some different signs out here. But as far as the warnings are concerned, it's these two areas right here. It's this cluster with some hail near Lafayette, and then this cluster right here that is showing some signs. See how it's starting to bow out just a little bit there? It's a good indication that we're going to get some strong winds in here. So as far as Akron, sorry, I just hid your comment. But as far as Akron, we got about 30 minutes before it tries to roll in, which makes sense because it was about 30 minutes ago we said it was going to be about an hour. So 20 miles away, it's moving about 40 miles per hour. Now I don't necessarily anticipate this right here to push into Akron. See how it's a little bit, you have to have a little south component. So this will likely miss Akron to the north, but this line right here. So let's actually track that. Oh, there's that strengthening. There's that cluster with it. Track that to Akron. It puts it about 40 minutes. So 30 to 45 minutes before it rolls in. There's that cluster. I'm going to zoom in on it. So we're looking for big spikes, essentially, in reflectivity. Big spikes in lightning. And then you're looking for these little pink colors right here. That. So what's happening is the radar is shooting out into those thunderstorms. It's shooting into this thunderstorm, and it's anticipating a lot of rain, right? A high value. Large raindrops, well, what are large raindrops up into those thunderstorms? They're hailstones, and the larger they get up inside those thunderstorms, you're getting lofting up into the cold air, so it's freezing, it gets heavy, and it drops until it gets lofted back up. So that melting and freezing process back and forth, plus the collisions that's going on in there, that hail gets larger. It grows larger just from the melting and freezing, and from sticking to other hailstones up in the sky as well. So that's getting larger, and what it's doing is it's giving us the potential for some large hail. Big updrafts with this. Convection, it's lifting, it's driving these thunderstorms vertically. So the potential for large hail is there. Not seeing a lot in this from Red Hall, New Pittsburgh, Cedar Valley, Congress. Going to get some gusty winds, don't get me wrong. See how it's kind of pushing out a little bit? You're going to see those little, like the greens on the backside, just pushing in some of that drier air, trying to give us some big pushes. I would watch near like Lodi and Burbank, stuff like this. Big indication of some hail with that. Maybe just south of that, you'll get a good push of some wind. That's possible there. A little inflow there, Congress outflows there. I mean, these thunderstorms, these lines like this are very complex. If you wonder why we get so many EF zeros and ones now, we can see it now. Before we didn't have the radar that would show us this fine detail, so we can see them now. We always got them, we just didn't know they were there. So now we're actually really getting a good idea on it. There's a lot of lightning with this Medina, this portion that's moved pretty much out of the warning area. Look how it's moved north. Look how it's kind of followed that path we thought it was going to do. It's no longer even down here where the warning is. It's no longer down here. It's pushing itself just off towards this corner. And that, I mean, Brunswick, Strongsville even. I know you've got this burst of heavy rain. No lightning with it yet. Burst of heavy rain out there. This might be just enough of a northward push to maybe get all the way to Strongsville or Brunswick. Strongsville, you're kind of right on the edge of this. We'll put this in motion and we can kind of extrapolate what we're thinking. This gusted out down here. Watch this line. It's going to relapse itself, and then it's kind of gusted out right there. Boom, there goes that, meaning that it's faded away. It's fallen apart. It's collapsed. It's gone. But this is still strengthening. So we'll see that roll on through. This is looking near Lodi, looking more and more interesting. Very interesting. There's going to be some hail with it. There's going to be some strong winds with it. No rain in Little Italy yet? Nope, not yet. Not yet. Thank you for the report. Brady asking if this warning has a chance to be upgraded to a tornado warning. There we go. It's on there. Is it on there? Yeah, it's on there. Does this one, yes and no. The bigger concern isn't necessarily that there could be a tornado with it. The bigger concern is that you've got some straight line wind damage, whether it's 60 mile per hour winds potentially with this, or 70 mile per hour tornado, 80 mile per hour tornado, whatever it is, it's not developed yet. I want to be very clear. But either way, its wind damage is still the biggest concern with that portion of the storm. You got to watch closely a couple little things here. How bad is Chippewa Lake going to be? Well, Chippewa Lake is right in between here. Check this out. Pop in there. All right, there's Chippewa Lake. Look at Chippewa Lake. You're right here. This thunderstorm just missed you to the north. It's pushing into Medina, Abbeville, Litchfield, Lafayette, just to your north. Lodi, Crawford Corners, Burbank, that's just to the south. Well, watch this. It's probably going to clip just right on through, but there's no even lightning with that. It's just heavy rain, which is interesting enough that there's no lightning with it. Very interesting. Very interesting. Is the Guards game? No, it's not canceled. Definitely not. Potatoes laying down in Lodi. Yeah. You've got about probably 30 minutes of that heavy rain. Anybody in here between Lodi and Burbank? So just south on, what is that, 83 through Lodi? Is that 83? Through Lodi? Getting on to like 71 down here. Let me know. That's some heavy rain. Here's 71 right here, just between 71 and the town of Lodi. I think that's 83. You're going to have some either heavy rain, gusting things out, a little shelf cloud with that near Burbank. So it's a big wind, some thunder and some lightning eventually, and some heavy rain, maybe even some hail with that. There goes that warning because this storm looks like it kind of dropped its hail. And yeah, I agree with the National Weather Service with this. Not a lot of lightning with it. There's still going to be some heavy rain, but it's pushing off towards the north, towards like Brunswick, northeast rather, Brunswick, Bennett's Corners, Hinckley, Medina. You've got some heavy rain for sure, maybe some gusty winds, but there's criteria for those warnings. Again, 1-inch hail and 58-mile-per-hour winds. So 60-mile-per-hour winds or 1-inch hail. And that's kind of why there's no warning on it, because it just doesn't look like it's very organized. Like I said earlier, it gusted itself out. So it looked like as it was building, here I can show you, we'll do it we can dive into this. As this storm was building, all these storms are rotating. That's these supercells. So they grow up, they rotate. And as it's rotating on the back side of it, you can get this downdraft that just pushes things out. Once that downdraft kind of takes over and gusts out, see how it just blows it apart, messes with the structure. The storm got strong and then gusted itself out. Not to say it won't re-strengthen, because it definitely can. This air out ahead of it is warm and super humid, so it could re-strengthen. Looking at Parma. Parma, Berea. No lightning with this. Oh, it's turned off. Hold on a second. Yeah, no lightning with it. There wasn't before, and there still isn't, but that doesn't mean there's not going to be more. Berea, Brook Park, Brooklyn, Parma. This is what I'm watching for potentially strengthening. And it's just south. Come on now, that's great. There's so many people that you'll see storms in the forecast, and you'll not go to the Guards game. You're not go to Little Italy. You're not. That's 1 point. That's 1 point on a map. These thunderstorms, there are thousands of people being impacted by this, and we have to talk about these thunderstorms. But if you're asking about Progressive Field, this is just to the south of town right now. They might put the tarps out on the field, but this rain is off the shore. This rain might miss downtown Cleveland. So, yeah, that's great news. It's great news. Not a lot of rain behind it, just some showers, which should fade away pretty quickly. All right, here we go. This storm is looking interesting, to say the least. It's looking pretty impactful as far as wind and just the disconnected flow. So we're looking for little breaks, little notches in this. There's no tornado warnings for this, but let me hide this comment so we can see. We already answered that. Chippewa Lake. You're kind of right in the middle, right in the cusp, and this little area might be just enough to squeeze on in there. But we're looking for little, I mean, that's not necessarily, we'll watch it closely. That doesn't look good by any means, but you're looking for the little notches, things like that, which is little portions of inflow in these storms. So that's something that we're going to keep a very close eye on. Nice. Hey, we've got a weather enthusiast in here. This is great. Tyler Bricker. My man, let's go. No CC drop, meaning, so correlation coefficient. We have, with the radar technology we have, dual pole. We can measure how wide and how tall, like length and width of the raindrops or hailstones or birds or debris. We know what it is. We know how much it correlates to everything around it, if it's consistent, if it's rounder than it is taller, you know, if it's wider than it is taller. So we know a lot of information with this. So he's talking about that, essentially dual pole product. And we can throw that on here. How about this? Yeah, so we're looking okay with that. You can look at the change in your reflectivity, dual pole. There's so many things that we can look at with all this activity. We can look at the shear. Let's see here. There's not a lot with it. The shear is the amount of spin essentially in the atmosphere. There's that watch that we were talking about when we started this stream. Issued as those storms are rolling in. So as far as like the spin in the atmosphere, that's kind of what we were looking at there. There is a little bit of spin. There wasn't a whole lot before, but now we're starting to see a little bit of it. And that's right there where I was just pointing out, where I said we're gonna keep a very close eye on. There's a little bit of right there and right there. There's two little portions that look very interesting, something I'm gonna keep a very close eye on. Very close eye on. Doesn't look like anything is spinning just yet, at least not on the surface. But that is something I'm gonna keep it very close. Very close eye on. The big yellow box, there we go. Severe thunderstorm watch box, that is until, I don't even know when they're going to have that go till, until 8 o'clock. Yeah, that makes sense. It will be trimmed down before that. These storms are going to be out of here way before then. Again, this was issued from the SPC and the National Weather Service, kind of working together to find out where these storms are. Just how it works sometimes, Bill. Bill and Faith King live in southeast Medina County. Storms seem to split and go north and south and miss us, wondering why. It just happens. Sometimes there's topography that can spark that can make that happen. Sometimes it's just luck of the draw. Elsewhere, it's the other direction, right? So, that being said, it's just how it works sometimes. Still so much lightning in that storm pushing through Medina right now. Good question, though. All right, here we go. Very shocking, Tyler. Very shocking. But again, with this much, with the low right overhead. So here we go. Tyler's talking about the percentages for like tornadoes and stuff like that. So the issue is with this low right over Lake Erie. I'll put this lapse over the last hour. With this low over Lake Erie, with this pushing right through here, you've got lifting air, you've got rotation, you've got a lot of shear. Might not have a whole lot of instability yet, but you've got enough spin, so it doesn't necessarily take the stuff, everything that you have way out west, like in the plains when you get massive amounts of instability and massive amounts of spin to get those supercell thunderstorms that give you those massive tornadoes. We don't have that. We don't often get that ever really here. But what we do get on the leading edge of this is you get those little eddies essentially in the flow, and that's the issue. That's really the concern. And you start to see little pushes like this, little kind of appendages that kind of stick out from in the front of the storms there. Little inflow there, little inflow right there as well. I'm going to zoom in on both of these just so we can see what's going on. They don't lead to very strong or long-lived tornadoes, and there's none on the ground right now, and be very clear. But they do lend themselves to give us those brief spins. This is, yeah, not a ton of wind with it, but there's enough, and maybe even some hail in there. Yeah, not even a whole lot. Just the wind threat. Heavy rain, southwest Parma. Yeah, Parma's getting in on this. There's no warning or anything. There's your lightning strike. I knew it was going to eventually. It was just strengthening into untouched air. It had to strengthen, right? There's Parma. There's your rumble of thunder. North Olmsted, like Fairview Park area, right around here. That pushing just south. I mean, come on now. Look how close this is. And why would people say, why you're a yes or a no for Progressive? Are we going to get rain at Progressive? Well, look how close this rain is. Little Italy as well. Feast of the Assumption right here. I mean, this is just south of Tremont, right? So this is not far away. So our weather models, we can get pretty good. We can get pretty accurate, but it's a couple miles away. It's just getting dumped on. Maybe a couple showers in downtown Cleveland, but it's just getting dumped on just to the south. So thankfully that is 2 miles away, and they're probably doing the, your pregame festivities and everything, warm-ups, batting practice, all that good stuff. All right. Brunswick to Medina, no warning, but still a lot of lightning, a lot of thunder with that. Ton of lightning. Medina to Brunswick, Abbeville. Right there. That's some pretty heavy rainfall. All the way over to Windfall, Granger, Ramson Corner, just south of Brunswick. Happy Sunday, right? Today's your day for grilling, isn't it? Today's the day where you want to get out and have some fun. That warning was allowed to expire. We just walked over. We just went through the velocity. We just looked into it to look for hail. We weren't seeing much in the way of wind. We weren't seeing much in the way of hail. So they allowed that warning to expire because they're seeing the same stuff I'm seeing. Or at least to the south, rather. They're not going to issue that, but at least to the south of that, they're not going to issue a warning with that. This right here, the reason we're keeping a close eye on that is because of the little bit of change. A little bit of a disconnected flow, essentially. It's not really pretty. Very tough to pick out where there might be a little bit of inflow kind of with that. It's just a little too disconnected to really get too much going. So that's what we're watching. And again, south again into Millersburg. We're talking Holmes County and Wayne County, Coshocton County, Tuscarawas County. There's not a lot of wind with this. There's really no hail with it. It's just a bunch of rain and lightning. You could have a billion strikes of lightning. It still won't be a severe thunderstorm. You have to have wind or hail. If you don't have either one of those, then you're not going to have that warning. No visible lightning right now. Steady rain, some wind, thunder. No visible lightning in Worcester. Yeah, it's crazy. There's not a lot. There's not a lot of lightning out on the leading edge of this, which is kind of crazy. You would think with a strengthening, if it is strengthening storm, you would get some lightning, right? Some convection. Well, that's kind of proof that it's not strengthening. It's just maintaining. There is quite a bit of thunder out behind it, some rumbles out behind, but not nearly as much as there was earlier. You can look near like Berger, south here. That's a little more in the way of some lightning. Fredericktown. But yeah, just a bunch of rain with that. Worcester, Boys Village, Canaan, those youth houses just north of Worcester. A comment in here was asking about Boys Village. What is that? That's, you can scroll up. There was a comment in there talking about what that is. Bunch of housing. Looks like there's just heavy rain. Rain and thunder in Worcester. Amanda, thank you very much for that. Yeah. So this is doing the same thing that storm in Medina County was doing. You see how you get this little this lighter stuff to try to push in here, and it's pushing this. So this is going to try to break off potentially and break off from the flow of this. I mean, there's still a lot of heat and humidity out ahead of it, so it might try to develop some more, but there's no lightning with it, so we're not seeing a whole lot of stuff going on. Apple Creek getting darker. Jacob West, yeah. Apple Creek getting dark and thunder. Just not a whole lot of thunder, right? Man, the pool party in Parma. Tyler, man, you're the enthusiast. You've been right on it. You've been on it, man. What do you think? Your pool party in Parma? I think you're fine. It's at 3:30. That's 2.5 hours away. I think you're fine. There are going to be a couple little thunderstorms, a couple brief downpours that pop up on the back side of this. Again, here's the low. Let me put it in motion so we can see. So we can see, like, here's your low up here. So there are going to be a couple like this. There's going to be a couple little downpours that try to develop on the back side of that low. But once this front rolls through, our severe weather threat's going to be pretty over. Hey, good idea. Stuck inside a Walmart in Worcester, torrential downpour outside. So yeah, it's a good spot to be, mainly because if you get away from those front windows, of course, if there is like big time wind, it can break those windows out. But there's so much storage and stuff like that. You don't want to be in the middle of like the Walmart, but if you're near like the walls, near like the offices and stuff like that, pretty good spot to be, and they're all pretty much built for that to withstand, these big thunderstorms. Tyler, that's exactly what I said. You're right, man. You're right. You're on it. My Beagle and I had to leave the front porch. I rate this storm a 5 out of 10. Good rating. And I agree. Again, there's heavy rain. I'm not talking about winds that are gusting well over 60. I'm talking about maybe up to 60, on that leading edge. You see how that's pushing through. That's that upper level air pushing in and just pushing that storm out. So this is the trend. We've been seeing this happen. You see these little pushes of wind. And if you're in Worcester, you just got through it, right? Maybe up to 60 mile per hour winds. Maybe. Trying to catch up with some of the comments. You guys are great. Thank you very much. Where are you guys? We have the majority of folks on, let's see where we are. Majority of the folks are on YouTube. So good. I'm glad to see that this YouTube, the algorithm is spreading. So this is working out pretty well. We're streaming everything all the time on YouTube. So thank you. Thank you very much for hanging out and for getting some information. Feel free to put in some reports, put in some comments. Let me know what you're seeing, where you are. This is this right here is the warning. This was warned earlier, but see how it broke off, and now it's rolling into that air. It's just they get individual, and then they sort of grow into a large line, a squall line. This is a stereotypical textbook setup. This is if you're learning about weather, this is what you see. You get into the peak heating of the day. That's what the watch is for. That's not shocking. What happens is you get these storms a little early in the day. They don't have as much fuel to keep going and to keep strengthening. So they tend to, as this storm did, they tend to get big and then just they lose the steam and they fall apart. They get big and then they fall apart. Well, once you get a little more daytime heat, could be a couple hours later. Let's see what temperatures are here. Once you get a little bit of heating in there, there's a little more fuel, and look at that downpour, yeah. You have the energy and you have the ability to maintain or strengthen the convection. Yeah, 85, 76 just cooled off at Cleveland and Hopkins with that rain. But there's your mid-80s. That's why I didn't have, remember all week we were talking about the potential for like middle and upper 80s? Because this line was coming through so early, we didn't get in on that. I mean, I was talking Friday, tracking out some big-time thunderstorms, right? Because they were going to roll in late afternoon. There's your mid-80s trying to develop. If you're east, if you're in Pennsylvania, West Pennsylvania, Southwest Pennsylvania, then yeah, you've got some more heat growing. But because this is rolling through so early, what is it, 120? Because this line is rolling through so early, we're going to light that fuse before it can build. We're going to light that fire before all the fuel gets in there. So that's good news. Good news that we're chipping at this so early. Dew points are up there, mid-70s. That's brutal. Brutally humid, brutally humid. Not great. Not great. I'm sure, right. We can, wait a minute. I've got a camera in Worcester. What am I doing? I'm waiting for this to get through Worcester. Sometimes I get distracted. I have a camera in Worcester, and I didn't show it to you while it was coming through. What a goober. I can't believe I forgot that. We could have probably seen that shelf cloud roll right on through as it was rolling through Worcester High School. I cannot believe I missed that. Anyway, sometimes I forget that we have all the cameras where we have them. But this is what it looks like now. Just steady rain. Not seeing a whole bunch of flashes, are you? Not seeing a whole lot of flashes. Yeah, not seeing any flashes with this, so not a whole lot of lightning with that right there. We can go over to the camera or over to the radar and show you there's really not a lot in Worcester either. I'm so bummed I missed that shelf cloud. So bummed. Orville, you're getting it. Dalton, you're getting it. Apple Creek, you're getting it. That's that wind rolling in. So whenever you get it kind of bowing out like that, look at it connecting. Look at it connecting right there. Connecting into a larger line. That's why the severe thunderstorm watch box was issued for this line, this rolling into this primed air. So we'll likely get on some more warnings. Like I told you, this is moving into some air that's likely going to have more fuel to it. So I wouldn't be surprised. Oh, what great news for Cleveland, downtown Cleveland. Little Italy, man, I don't know. There's some lightning out there. There's a couple strikes with this. This one was from a while ago, 15 minutes ago. This one's more recently, just behind it. It's along that line. So Cleveland might get some downpours. There it is, yeah, absolutely. So progressive, there we go, 120 in about 30 minutes here. Right at about first pitch, they got a downpour. A brief delay, and then behind it, there's nothing. So there it is. Thunder in Parma. Here's all right, not for us. This is well south. Tornado warning. This is for along that I-70 corridor. There it is. These storms, notice the track of this one, how these storms are all kind of developing and pulling up towards our low. So this right there, it's exactly what we've been talking about. Let me see if I can change radars and get a little better view of this. It's pretty far from our radar, so if we can get, wrong one. If we can get Cincinnati's radar, let me turn the lightning off for a second. So you see this little inflow here, this little notch, that little pocket right there. Outflow, inflow. It's embedded in this line. We used to not be able to see this. Our radars used to not be this good, but it's along that little line right there. And again, this is a loft. This is 5,500 feet up. So at the surface, it's going to look totally different. But it is something that along the edge, along these lines, there's the potential for it. Can't rule it out. Not really seeing a whole lot right now as far as tornado aspects or tornado returns or anything like that, any signatures, but we'll watch it. You're going to look for little stuff like this. This is more so just because it's pushing out. It's trying to break apart, essentially, trying to push that leading edge out. So some pretty big wind out there. Okay, where are we at here? Downpour in Apple Creek. Yep. Big time wind, big time rain in Apple Creek. It won't last too long, and let me turn the lightning on. There's not a lot. There's some more up near like the Cleveland area. Just had a strike. Where are we at here? Just had a strike. Shaker Heights, just on the east side. Where's Little Italy? Get in here. Some showers. This heavier rain. North Lindale, heavier rain going to push through Cleveland. Lake County has the potential for it. Here's Worcester. Akron, not there yet. Hilton Cam. All right, there it is. There's that. All right, so this is cool. This is showing us. So here's that whole line trying to develop. Here's that downpour. There's the rain shaft. That is some heavy rain pushing through there. There's your line of clouds, essentially, just trying to roll right on in. It's going to get a lot darker. You got the good time out there behind me. I think that's the good time. They're probably going back. All right, let's go back and dock. So yeah, you can. I mean, the visibility drops to like 0. Look at that rain shaft. Right there. Boom. No visibility. Visibility. It's like the trees back there just disappear. That rain is blocking it all. Another view from the same thing. From the silo cam, looking the same direction. Again, all right, so the Hilton is, I think, behind. Is that the? Yeah, I think it's behind there. Anyway, so it's looking that way also. This is that same rain shaft. There's Progressive. Lights are on. Tarps might be coming out also. West 117th, downpour. Somebody not seeing rotation in the severe. Yeah, me either. Me either. And either is National Weather Service. That's why there's no warning with it. No tornado warning. But it's definitely something to watch. Definitely something to watch. We'll put our velocity back on here so we can see the wind. Not a lot of wind with it either. I mean, it's windy, don't get me wrong, but there's a criteria for warnings, and that's 58 miles per hour. That's 60 mile per hour winds. We're just not really seeing it. Maybe, let's go to the leading edge. We might pick out some of these little red pixels in here, these red little, yeah, it's not showing up much. As far as hail is concerned, not really seeing a lot with that. Maybe some small hail, or it's just heavy rain. But the wind threat is there. This is showing more signs of pushing and breaking out. You're going to get little things, little just messes with the flow. Just if it was one steady flow, then it wouldn't be an issue. But because it tries to push itself out, then you get these little eddies that spin out. According to Scanner, Batman Pez, according to Scanner, tree down on top of car in Wayne County. Driver is okay. Let me send that to the newsroom, see if we can confirm that. Throw that in the station's little chat there so we can check on that, try to get some information. Lori, where are you at? Where are you? Talking about taking your 2 dogs out at 2. Anything coming down in Bolivar? By 2 o'clock, depending on where you are, the farther west you are, yeah, absolutely. It's just going to be a little bit wetter. But it looks like the strong stuff should be out of here. Bolivar, let's go. Tuscarawas County, you've got some heavy rain. Husband's out power washing, nothing like getting even wetter. Mother Nature's going to try to power wash it herself. Here, look at that rain trying to roll in. Bolivar, Strasburg, New Philly, just trying to push on in. No warnings with that, but that doesn't mean we can't see some warnings eventually. South Summit Street. All right, I'm going to add that. Batman Pez, thank you. Let's get into it. So we got a lot of questions now. So what's interesting with these streams is we'll get a lot of questions initially about when's it going to hit this town, when's it going to hit this area, all those important questions, and then we go through it, and then there's like a lull, probably 15, 20, 30 minutes of no more questions, and then all of a sudden it's, hey, when's it going to hit to this town, this town, this town? It's because as the storm moves on, as it gets closer, you start hearing thunder. Everybody, Akron, Greene, and Canton starts to jump in here, and they want to know where it's going to be going. Meanwhile, Ashland, Mansfield, you're off enjoying your Sunday. And you can do that. You can go enjoy your Sunday. On the back side of this, anybody from Westlake, Avon, Lorraine, yeah, there's some light showers, but in some rumbles of thunder, Brunswick, through Worcester even, you're on the back side of it, back to Mansfield and Ashland. Back here, your severe weather threat's done. Your damage threat's over. Yes, there is still a little bit of thunder left over. A lot of thunder left over down here, but most of the rain, other than these little pop-up thunderstorms, shouldn't be too crazy. I think the severe threat's over for you guys. And honestly, with them issuing this, that's the watch. Come on. I'm not going to let me hook on it, but this little tan box here from the National Weather Service showing that they're watching it. I was going to say they're probably not going to issue a warning for it, and that warning did expire. What time is it? 1:30 on the dot. So there goes that. And again, it's gusting itself out. There's not much wind with it. Not much wind with it, and I don't think there's any hail with it really either. Maybe some small hail. Not to say that portion is done, because just like what we saw with the stuff near Strongsville, or near Medina rather, as it moves farther east, there's a lot of lightning in this. So this is strengthening. This is showing signs of weakening a bit, or at least just maintaining, not strengthening, but just holding. And then as it moves into this air where you have middle 80s with an incredible high humidity, that heat rises. It's wet, so it's rising. That wetness condenses and it fuels these thunderstorms. So that's why we're watching this stuff. No warnings right now. Believe it or not, no warnings right now. Here's why I'm doing this on a Sunday afternoon. You ready for this? Will Little Italy get drenched soon? Yeah. Feast of the Assumption. What are you, shoulder to shoulder, trying to walk through Little Italy? Where are we at here? Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit farther. Looks like Progressive right there just missed out on some big-time rain right there. Here's Little Italy. I don't know, man. You're close. You're close. There's definitely some thunder. It might miss Little Italy. Oh, look at that. It might just miss Progressive as well. They might get their first pitch in at 150 at Progressive. How about that? How about that? It's a mile away. It's 2 miles away maybe. Go back to the Hilton cam here. Yeah, and that's not raining right there. It's dark. It's gray. It's cloudy. But it's not raining right there. Edgewater. We still got folks out in the water. If you're close enough to hear thunder, you're close enough to get struck. Lightning can strike over 30 miles away from a thunderstorm. I know they can hear thunder 5 miles away at Edgewater. Not a good spot to be. Not a good spot at all. A lot of lightning. Copley, Barberton. Hey, Akron, you've got a, here we go. I'm not going to miss this one. Akron, you've got a, I missed it rolling through Worcester, but you've got those clouds thickening up. You've got the air show going on at the regional airport there, Akron Fulton Airport. I was there Friday. Awesome setting. Derby Downs right there in the background. Akron on the hillside. Great spot for an air show. It's going to get interrupted. It's going to get interrupted. Youngstown, you got a long time before it gets to Youngstown. I know you've got the watch, but you got a long time before it gets to Youngstown. An hour? Yeah. So you got time. Great report. Riley, thank you. Drive through Ashland as it was coming across. Zero visibility. Yeah, those downpours for sure. Zero visibility. Small hail is what we were expecting, and a good amount of wind, but was quick to roll through. So Riley, absolutely. Thank you very much for that. That's exactly what this has been, what we've been looking at, what we assumed we were seeing, what we've been kind of talking about, telling folks to prepare for. There is a warning now for Coshocton County. That's as this line gets a little bit closer. Look at that. Warned for. There's that tornado warning that was issued. No tornado warning anymore. It's those brief little spin-ups, EF zeros and ones that do some crazy damage. Let me get the comment off there. But then they fade away, right? Still some strong storms. Still some very strong storms. Shelf cloud visible from Canada except the F-16 flying over 77 and driver looking up at warplanes not driving. That's tough, man. That's a serious thing. That's one of the most distracting and unfortunate things when there are air shows in towns. You get these sweet warplanes and jets and all kinds of cool stuff right up my alley. Some crazy stuff, and you want to watch it, but don't if you're driving through this stuff, of course, and with the distractions. So. Super dangerous, super dangerous. But man, do I love me an air show. Cleveland's air show is coming September 5th, Labor Day. It's air show season. Let's go. Still watching. If you're at the air show, I want to try to find a tent because you're just minutes away from some heavy rain and a lot of lightning. Look at that big cluster just rolled in. The airport is like right here-ish. Oh, come on. It's right about here. So you are 6 miles away, which puts you about, minutes. Oh, come on, that's not it. Puts you minutes away. Minutes away from 10 minutes away from heavy rain rolling in. So yeah, if you've got friends, you got family that are at the air show, the Props and Pistons air show, shoot them a quick text, send them a quick call them if you want to, FaceTime them, or send them the link to this. That would probably be a good thing also, and they can watch the stream while they're waiting this out, because they're definitely going to have to ground all the planes, wait for this to roll through, and then they might get back out. The issue is going to be how. Like the ceilings, how low the clouds are, essentially, if that can get lifted up enough. It's kind of tough prefrontal, or post-frontal, rather, post-thunderstorms. It's tough to see how much they'll recover, but they might. Got a couple questions here. Yeah, Jacob talked about Barberton. A lot of wind, downpours right now, raining in Macedonia right now. Thank you very much, Mommy Pickles. Rain beginning in Cuyahoga Falls. Thank you very much for that. JL Trem. Susan wanted to know about Tuscarawas County. Let's zoom out. Let's show you. This whole line. Now, yes, southern Tuscarawas County is included in this warning for this line that rolls through, but the whole stretch, all of this right here, a lot of lightning near Shreve, but on the leading edge, there's not a lot of lightning with it. There are some gusts, 40 to maybe 50 miles per hour. You might get a brief gust as high as 60, but it's so tough to see because come on, the radar in Berlin is 4,000 feet high. You get to New Philly, it's 4,700, so almost 5,000 feet high. You get to southern Tuscarawas County, we're talking almost 7,000 feet, 6,700 feet. Tuscarawas County, 6,620. I mean, southern Coshocton County, you're at 6,900 feet. That being said, when the radar gets that far out there, the bottom of these thunderstorms are at about 1,000 feet. So you're looking 7 times higher than that. You're looking well up into that storm. There's no way you can know exactly what's going on at the surface. So that being said, you can kind of extrapolate and assume that there's some pretty strong wind at the surface. So that's something to keep a close eye on. Lindsay just lost power. Okay, scroll up. Lindsay in Canal Fulton. Hey, you know what's great? You're on the stream. It's on your phone, right? You just charge up your devices. If you're watching on TV, your house loses power. This is no longer the world of getting stuck in front of your TV to, hold on one second. There's no longer the world where you just have to watch your TV the whole time. It's on your phone. You can watch it right there on your phone. You can take it with you to your safety spots. There's that warning for Carroll and Tuscarawas County. Sorry, behind the scenes stuff. We're going to stick with this on, I think we're on the app, I think we're on YouTube. I know we're on YouTube, Facebook, and all that good stuff. So we're gonna stick with this. So that's essentially what that was, just asking how much longer we're going to be watching these thunderstorms. And probably for another hour or so. Probably another hour, realistically, before this line rolls out of here. Now, no warnings north of, like, Route 30, Worcester to Canton, but that's still some pretty good rainfall, right? Quite a bit of lightning as well. South, and again, this is where it's showing those signs, that pushing, right? That leading edge. You've got the potential for, 50, maybe briefly 60-mile-per-hour winds. Let's see if we can bring up Pittsburgh. Yeah, it's so, again, Pittsburgh's radar here is 5,000 feet up, so it's lower than ours, and it's showing us some pretty good signs of some pretty strong wind with that. So we might get 60-mile-per-hour winds. Anywhere you're seeing these lighter blues in here, this is the velocity. Aloft, up in that storm, on the back side of this, you've got the winds trying to push themselves down here, and as they work them, the thunderstorm redirects those upper level winds, and that's why you get that strong wind out ahead of that line there. So that's where you're starting to talk about straight line wind concerns. Cool. Hey, send me some reports. See where you're at. So let me know where you are. Let me know what you're seeing, and we can help spread the word. This is, there you go. There's that wind. We just showed you that wind in Stark County. We just showed you that wind, the potential for it. Not seeing a lot from our Akron or our Cleveland camera, but our Cleveland radar rather, but it's there. I mean, you've got the potential, and you've got what looks like it can get windy with these storms just pushing themselves out. Building, heavy rain. Yeah, big time heavy rain. If you're in Little Italy, if you're headed to the Guards game, first pitch is in 10 minutes. They might have the tarps on the field at Progressive. But Cleveland, Little Italy, you're drying things out. For now, I do have some lighter rain just to the west. Light stuff, no thunder, no lightning with it, which is good news. But you're going to have some of these light rain showers try to roll through. They might have the tarps on and try to keep them on until this pushes out. Because then behind it, you're good. You're good. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's just delayed a little bit briefly. I can't watch the game right now, of course, so I don't know exactly what they're doing. I'm not listening to Hammy right now either. But if you are, let me know if they're going to delay the first pitch, because I wouldn't be surprised. Medium rate rain in Bedford. Yeah, medium. So you're probably right in between those red clusters in Bedford. Yeah, Paul Greenwell asking about Uniontown. Missed the morning by about 5 miles. Yeah, I mean it's real tough, and everybody's had about the same weather, knocking down some trees here and there. We can put some of the reports on here for you, and there's none showing up. None showing up. So no reports of any. It is in a delay. Thank you. Wouldn't be surprised. Thought so. Shelf clouds in Stark County and Canton right now. Yes, absolutely. That line rolling in. Akron's getting soaked right now. Meanwhile, Worcester on the back side of it. You ready for this? There it is. There's that clearing line. Come on now. Blue on the back side of that. That's that cloud deck, that rain shield just sliding on out. So that's good news. Worcester, great news, Worcester. Getting dumped on right now in Akron. All right, so this is apartment. This was at 4. So this was in the morning, early in the morning. We had some heavy rain. Phil was here tracking this all out. Had some heavy rain early in the morning. Akron, there it is. Airport, you're going to have to, hopefully everybody's inside. There's no, let's see here. Yeah, there's a lot of lightning out there. Man, alive, Copley. That's heading right toward downtown Akron and heading right toward the air show. So that's going to be pushing right on through. Heavy stuff. Hey. So that's what we're dealing with right now is heavy rain and lightning trying to roll through as well. Akron, Crumroy, pushing south, East Liberty, Royal Oak, Barberton, Loyal Oak, rather, sorry. Talmadge, Mogador. That's some heavy rain. Pushing right on through. We just watched that camera. There's all your lightning. Copley, Fairline, Granger, Bonita, Clark's Corners, Wadsworth even. Back to the west. No warning with it. Just heavy rain and a ton of lightning. Now, there is a warning for Stark County. That includes North Canton, Canton, Baker Heights, all the way through Navarre. Just had a comment. Just saw Navarre pop up through the feed here. What was that comment? I think it was like heavy rain in Navarre. Yeah, downpour. Shirley, downpour in Navarre. Thank you very much for that. That was right after the comment about the shelf clouds rolling through. So this is what this is. This cloud is just going to look like, you ever seen Independence Day with the spaceships coming in? You know, it's kind of what it looks like, a little bit of a spaceship, but it's a cloud, just a flat cloud that's just rolling in. And the leading edge of that is a good indication you got some pretty strong straight line winds. Heavy rain, not a lot of lightning with it, but there is heavy rain. You can notice those clouds roll in, pushing into Canton, Baker Heights, Howenstein. Moving about 40 miles per hour. The whole line has been moving about 40 since we started this. So North Canton, Canton, like now. East Sparta, in less than 10 minutes. In 10 minutes for East Canton. Louisville, 2 o'clock. Louisville right at about 2 o'clock. You'll see this rolling in. Here's Louisville on the eastern side of Stark County. Rolling in. You're going to notice that cloud, that big cloud rolling in, gray, dark cloud. Then the winds gusting to maybe 50 or 60 miles per hour. Let's see exactly what they are. Let's look at our velocity here. It's not showing a lot. It's not showing a lot of wind. So oh, man, not showing a lot of wind with this. Let me check another product real quick. just to make sure that we're getting everything. I mean, it looks like when you look at the reflectivity, when you look at this, it should be showing a lot of wind. The only reason you're going to get this bow, this backward looking bow and arrow, right? The only reason you're going to get that is if the upper level winds, like the storm grew up and it's redirecting those upper level winds downward to the surface and it's pushing this storm out, right? It's bowing it out like that. And if it works it to the surface, you can get some pretty strong wind with that. It's called a bow echo. I'm not even, nope. I'm getting maybe 40 to 50 mile per hour winds, and that's what we're seeing also. It's not saying that we can't get up to 60, because we definitely can, but I'm just not seeing that. The reflectivity is showing that. We would definitely assume, if you were just looking at reflectivity and not looking at velocity, I would say without a doubt we've got some strong wind with that. Between North Canton and Bolivar, Battlesburg, really. Bolivar, you're a little farther to the south. You're going to look at that next little burst from Bolivar to Sugar Creek. I could track that off for you. But again, the wind doesn't look, the wind doesn't look like it's really, put it at 40. Mineral City, about 5-7 minutes here, 157. Dover, 158. 202 for New Philly, Roswell, and Goshen right at about 208. So you've got, 20 minutes for Roswell and Goshen. Less than that for New Philly. Heavy wind at North Canton. Any damage? We do have heavy wind. See, I'm telling you, man, it looks like you're going to have some pretty strong wind out there. But the velocity is just not really showing it. So any debris, any sticks, any things blowing around, right? Like what are we looking at here? How much wind? Trees bending over? Give me some more Kellamore. That rhymed. Didn't anticipate that to rhyme. Rain sideways and trees are bending. So yeah. So yeah, no, for sure. If you see any like debris, any like large twigs and stuff like that, that's when we're getting into like the 50s. If you're seeing the debris, realistically, upwards of closer to around 60. When you get to 60 and above, you'll start to see trees and branches like snapping. That's the big concern with the warnings with that. But if you're looking at debris and just trees bending and stuff like that, that's typically just under 60 miles per hour. Just started pouring at the Hall of Fame in Canton. Wind isn't bad yet. So that's good. If it's raining already, then that's good. Then the wind should start to die off a little bit. Sticks going down the streets, pouring in Akron. Your reports are awesome. You guys are great. I cannot thank you enough because it's helping us out because we kind of saw through what we knew we were seeing, right? We thought we were seeing it. The radar kind of disagreed in one product, but we were looking at it, and we know there's likely going to be some trees here and there. So, yeah. Tracy confirms Barberton and Canton, trees swaying for sure. Heavy rain in Akron. The air show, it's tough. Here's Lakemore. I just saw a question about Lakemore just pop up through the scrolling there. Heavy rain. Thomastown, Portage Lakes as well was also another question. I see them all, and I'm trying to answer them all as I go, but bear with me. Bear with me because there's over 1,000 folks in here. We're not just on my Facebook page. If you're not on my Facebook page, head on over there. You can watch the stream over there as well. Give me a like, and that's just where you can get all the weather information for sure all the time. We've got our News 5 Cleveland Facebook page as well, which is probably where you're watching this, or on YouTube. A majority of you are on YouTube watching this, and that's great, right? We can stream the whole thing. We can stream all the time. We can stream everything with this. It's no longer a one-way street. You can put me on your phone. You can take me wherever you're going. When I say it's not a one-way street, I'm not just giving information. I'm getting information from you guys, and we're doing it in live. We're doing it live right here, which is great, which is good stuff. Rain is slacking off downtown Akron. Next comment, that's why I know it's Akron, downtown Akron. We didn't get much wind and no hail, but lightning is picking up. Ground truth. We can look at this. Rain's starting to taper off in Akron. Heavy stuff is pushed through. No hail, not much wind, which is why there was no warning. Hail and wind, those are the two things that we look at warnings for. 1-inch size hail or wind of 60 miles per hour. But then he's talking about the lightning picking up. There you go. So D-Dog 14, thank you very much for that. The Guardians game, I heard that it was in a delay, which is fine, right? The heavy stuff never really hit Progressive Field, which is what I was telling Mike Holden this morning. We're going to get the game in. We've got thunderstorms. Most of us are going to get rain, but Progressive Field is 1 point on that map. Whether they get dumped on, nobody can tell you 1 point on a map. And it was 2 miles away it got dumped on. So, but there are some showers. Light stuff, Bay Village, back through North Olmsted, Westlake. So that's what we're dealing with. All right, so, man, more. So this bright red down here. To answer your question, Guardians game, yes, I think the Guardians game gets in, but with a brief delay, of course. I think they're delayed right now. Let's check this out here. Let me get this off, this comment off. Southern, like I-70 and south, Southern Ohio. The flash flooding. The amount of rain, Zanesville, I-70 corridor and south, just another round. More lightning. I mean, there's a ton of rain with it. It's behind the heaviest stuff, which shows that it's just maintaining really, right? It's not strengthening, which is good news. There's a little bit of thunder out with it, but if we were having some big clusters out there, we'd expect this to be strengthening a bit. But the reds you're seeing, this just looks like a mess. There are so many different advisories and warnings. Everything that's flashing out here, you see this flashing? These are severe thunderstorm warnings. It goes all the way through Lancaster, Baltimore, just push through Columbus. Columbus can take a break. You've needed a break. I think you've got a break now the rest of the day for the most part. Canton up through New Philly into our viewing area, our south viewing area, our south region. Also the Akron-Canton region. Getting hit with some pretty good rainfall and some pretty strong wind out there as well. The green box you're seeing out here behind me here, these are flood advisories. The red box is a flash flood warning. Oh, man. It's just so much rain, right? So much rain. Rain had stopped in Cuyahoga Falls, wasn't severe at all. Yeah, there were no warnings. There were no warnings in Cuyahoga Falls, so that's the good news. Good. Not much wind, no hail. It's going crazy in Akron right now. I just had a here. This is the comment. I clicked on the wrong one. It's going crazy. Nico says going crazy in Akron. A lot of lightning for sure. But the heavy rain is shutting down, which is good news. Baltimore, good ice cream place for real. Next time I'm in Baltimore. Next time I head to Columbus, right? Juliana, where are you at? Where are you? Dark and rainy here, no wind yet. Where are you? Canton, Strasburg, New Philly, heavy stuff, heavy rain. We'll look at velocity, pull up Pittsburgh's radar for the velocity scan, and it's not showing much at all either now. Let's turn the lightning off. That has dropped significantly as well. A lot of wind in the Canton, North Canton area. We'll pop back over to Cleveland's radar. We'll do the velocity here. And yeah, we might be getting some gusts, maybe up to 60. Twinsburg, hard rain, thunder, rain slowing. Good. Thankfully, this wasn't around for Twins Fest, right? Last weekend, 2 weekends ago. It's raining really bad here in dark and windy in Canton. Michelle? Yeah, winds are probably up to about 60. And we've been talking about this. Even though it's so far away from the radar, we can see, we know what this indicates, right? When you get this backwards, this bow, essentially looks like a bow and arrow. You get that backwards push. It's the upper level winds. These thunderstorms have grown tall enough that they're redirecting those upper level winds down to the surface, and that's it gives it that bowing, that effect right there. How it bows out, it looks like a backwards C, and that's where you get those big time winds. Gusting up to 60 miles per hour. So Juliana's in Kent. She said it's getting dark and windy. Wait, no, that was Michelle. Juliana said earlier that it was that she had some big rain. So yeah. Right, let me see here. Yes, dark and rainy here. Oops, sorry, popped my microphone. No wind yet. So in Kent, you're not going to get much wind. You shouldn't. Heavy rain, some lightning, quite a bit of lightning. I mean, I'll throw the lightning on there for you. Kent, Ravenna area, you've got some heavy rain rolling in. But I wouldn't expect any damage. I wouldn't expect a whole lot of wind or any hail or anything like that. Just maybe some small hail, but just a whole bunch of rain. Tyler, 14 years old. I want to be a meteorologist. Man, Tyler, you're already looking at the right stuff. I'm telling you what. I know a lot about the weather, and weather has fascinated me since I was 4. Yeah, I didn't know you're 14, man. You're getting it. You're way ahead of schedule. Keep learning. Keep learning. That's awesome. If you guys weren't with us about an hour ago when we started this stream, Tyler was in here. I guess we've been doing this for 2 hours now. It might have been more than an hour ago. Tyler's picking out some stuff. Really had a good conversation with Tyler, so keep it going, man. And here we go. Tyler's last comment. I agree. I absolutely agree. The tornado threat, it's not totally gone. It is for us here in northern Ohio. Let's be real. It is for us in northern Ohio, but you get a little farther to the south, and you see how it's a little bit more linear. You get some breaks in this activity, and I can't rule out another couple brief spin-ups. We saw one just a little bit ago near Baltimore with the ice cream spot. So you're going to look for little indentions, little like this, little notches, little inflow notches essentially, where the flow just isn't the same. Like this, like here, it's all coming through. It's all blasting. You get little pockets like that. Not saying that that's what we're looking at right there, but that's kind of the indication that the potential is still there. Sleepy rain in Hudson. Just rain. Just rain. It'll get heavier. Actually, it won't. Hudson, you're on the back side of it now. Sorry about that. So you're pretty much done with the heavy rain. If you're waiting for them to get the Guards game in, they've got light rain. Very light rain pushing through right now. Little Italy, you're next. If you've got friends and family at the feast, standing shoulder to shoulder, sweating with everybody. It's super humid. You've got some light rain that's going to cool it off pretty nicely. And then you should be dry. Cleveland, this is just very light rain, just trying to roll through. Is Geauga clear now? Geauga County, as far as the severe weather threat, yes. Yes, Geauga County. Stephanie? Yeah. Here we go. You've got some heavy rain. You're not clear from rain by any means, but you are clear from the severe weather threat. We're talking damage. Probably not going to get much wind, so definitely not damaging wind. And the hail threat is very low. It just looks like heavy downpours with some rumbles of thunder, like that guy right there, pushing into Fowler's Mill. An inch per hour in Louisville. Let's go to it. We can actually zoom in on it and show you where we're at. Now we've got our rainfall rate, which is a little funky. It's not, I'm going to be real. We've got some really cool tools, but I'm going to be honest with you. Our rainfall rate, it overestimates some things sometimes. Another warning issued for Carroll County. They're issuing the entire leading edge of this. So that's not raining 7.4 inches per hour, 7.5 inches per hour. But it can show us where the heavy rain is. I mean, that's ridiculous. But it shows us where the heaviest rain is along this line. So it's a good indication of what's going on. We can look at like 3-hour rainfall and go behind it and see what it's been dropping. We'll pick out like some spots moving into Holmes County, 2 inches over the last 3 hours. 1 inch. Hudson, what are you at there? About 2 inches. Cleveland, 1.5. So some pretty good downpours. Now again, that's not downtown Cleveland. Look at this. Downtown Cleveland hasn't even rained much. That's like the Cleveland suburbs. Talking about Cleveland, look at downtown Cleveland. 0. Sprinkles. Sprinkles. Meanwhile, Brooklyn, a couple miles away, 2 inches of rain. So Cleveland just barely missed out on some dumping downpours. All right, West Stark County, you're in the clear for severe weather. Still be careful from Strasburg, New Philly, northern Tuscarawas County, all the way through Carroll County and Stark County. It's probably raining about 1 inch per hour. You're right. Probably raining about 1 inch per hour. That's 7 is ridiculous. Blake, hail anywhere? Not really. Not really much. I haven't had any reports of large hail, maybe some small stuff. And it's not really even with this activity. I don't even have, probably not. If anything, it's small. It's pea-sized hail, if any at all. So I wouldn't worry too much about hail. How safe is the feast? Well, here. Feast, the heavy rain's past you. The lightning's gone. As far as the potential for more thunder back here, more lightning back here, it's pretty low. It's not 0. Lightning can strike well away from the thunderstorms, but this is just light rain pushing into Cleveland, pushing into the Little Italy area. So your severe weather threat for the feast, Carroll, how safe is it? It's pretty safe. It's just wet. It's wet for the next probably hour before that rain can clear out. I'll put the last 30 minutes so you can see. I mean, it's moved from, what, Westlake to Cleveland in 30 minutes, so it'll likely move from Cleveland to Euclid in the next 30 minutes. So that's kind of the issue with that. Oh, battery died. I might need to change my batteries. It's 2:08. Bear with me for a second here. I can go with you. You guys can go with me, and I can change my microphone battery very quickly because I don't want this to fade out. I'm going to put this on the DMA map right now, and we'll track this. I'll put it in motion so you guys can see what's going on, but I'm going to change this battery out very quickly. So I'm going to go off camera for a little bit, but we can still talk. We can still talk about the heavy rain that's been rolling through. Again, we started this stream over 2 hours ago when it was just like a line of some thunder trying to roll through. Well, that line of thunder has turned into a large line, a huge line of some thunderstorms. All right, I'm going to take about 10 seconds here to change this battery out. Bear with me. All right, I should be back. I should be back. We should be good to go. So, hopefully you can hear me. Shut the battery door and get back to it. So yeah, heavy rain pushing through Stark, Tuscarawas, Coshocton, Carroll counties right now. If you're just now tuning in, had to do a quick microphone battery change. Now we're back in it. So here we are. We're good to go. Let me know if you can hear me. Make sure you can hear me before I get to talking too much. Wind has stopped in Uniontown. Paul, thank you very much for that. Portage, Manaway. So, Manaway, you are in the path of some heavy rain. That's it. No thunder, no severe thunderstorm warnings or anything like that. So, you're doing just good. You're doing just well. Cindy, thank you very much. Thank you for that. All right, is Akron, Ohio in the clear? Here in the clear from severe weather. Let's pop your question on here so I can kind of explain this. Yes, you're in the clear from severe weather. That's all south. The heavy rain is pulled out of Akron, but look how much lightning is still around there. There could be 1 strike or 1,000 strikes. It doesn't matter. Anything. There's no warnings for lightning. There's no lightning warnings or anything like that. Thunderstorms just have lightning, right? It's wind or it's hail. If there's no wind and no hail, no warning. So there's no warning. There's really not much wind or much hail pushing east of Akron, but there's so much lightning on the back edge of that. So is Akron, Ohio clear? From severe weather, from hail and wind, yes, but from lightning, absolutely not. So if you can hear thunder, you're close enough to get struck. When thunder roars, go indoors. That's what we always say. Let's see here. Joey, thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, big rainfall. So Tyler's talking about he got like 7/10 of an inch of rain in Brook Park. Big time heavy rainmakers. There's so much moisture in the air. I mean, it is ridiculously humid outside. So these thunderstorms have so much fuel, so much heat also. We were in the mid 80s for a little bit there. Akron's looking good. Akron's looking much better. Cleveland, just going to have some showers. Some light showers rolling through. It might be light enough for them to take the tarp off and actually get the game in early. But yeah, dropped into the 70s. There it is. That's that drop. So mid 80s out ahead of it. We were all like 83, 84, 82 around there. I mean, you see New Philly at 83 right now, 82. What happens is this rain rolls in, uses that heat, cools it off, and stabilizes the atmosphere. Is that a flood warning? Is what? So the pink, or the orange flashing, these are severe thunderstorm warnings, mainly for wind. Not seeing any potential really for large hail or anything like that. Maybe small hail, but it's mostly wind because you get that, I mean, look at that big bow with that. That's a big indication that the upper level winds are pushing this out through Canton, pushing toward like Salem, pushing farther east into like Carroll County. That's big wind. These are all severe thunderstorm warnings out ahead of this whole line. The red box you're seeing there, that's a flash flood warning for Zanesville, for Crookville. That is in effect until, get the watch out of here. It's not going to let me click it. But that's in effect for a while. Let me hide the severe thunderstorm watch so I can click on it. Oh my goodness. Flash flood warning, there we go, till 4:45. That took entirely too many clicks to get that information. Sorry about that. Now I'm going to put them back on. So that being said, flash flooding, well south, severe thunderstorm warnings for us in Northeast Ohio. Nope, not going to happen. Not looking at tornadoes with this, at least not locally. South and east, potentially. But I'm not looking for it right now. Let's zoom in a little bit here, show you what we've got going on. With these straight line winds here, it's definitely something to keep a close eye on, of course. So that's what we're watching. So here, these tornado siren, Anita Way, tornado sirens, those aren't operated by the National Weather Service, me or anybody or any like official like thing. In New Lexington, I couldn't tell you who sounds that. Local fire department, the mayor, it could be anybody. And there's different criteria that each person has for those. So those warnings or those sirens, those tornado sirens, absolutely listen for them, you know, and if they're going off, then you know there's a big storm coming through, but don't necessarily rely on it, I guess is what I'm getting at, because sometimes whoever pushes that button, whoever turns it on, it may not be a physical button, but whoever turns it on can miss things. So be extremely careful when you start like relying on tornado sirens. A lot of times at night, they're not supposed to go off. They were only ever issued for outdoor plans, like outdoor events. If you're inside, you're not supposed to hear them, and at nighttime, they're not supposed to send them off either, depending on, you know, the town or the, you know, who lights it off, depending on what city it is. So tornado sirens are a great tool if used correctly, a horrible tool if relied on at the wrong time. Thank you. Thank you very much. Wind is whipping in Port Washington in Tuscarawas County. Yeah, big time. Hey, check out this little inflow here. Port Washington, yeah, just north of Port Washington. How about that? So this is, let me put the velocity on here. Not seeing a lot with it, but you can see some big wind coming out ahead of it. There's some strong wind up in Stark County for sure. So much lightning out behind this line. So much lightning. Yeah, we got to watch this. Yeah, weather radios. Calamar weather radios. Those are alerted from the National Weather Service, and you can set it up for your area for which warnings you want. So if you want something really reliable for nighttime, weather alert radios. Or your phones do it now. And then flip on YouTube because we'll be here. Always. We will be here. That's our goal, that's our mission. Let's see here. Not showing some big signs of that. Let's see what we have going on. Looks like a whole lot of wind out ahead of this main line. Let's see if we can pick out some Michelle, is this all we're getting? For the most part, yes. You're finally starting to see some 50s with this. We've had warnings for hours, and we're finally starting to see some at least close to 60-mile-per-hour winds with this activity. Got to watch this stuff. Got to watch this very closely. You can get these quick little bursts, these quick bursts of wind that just do damage, you know. Carroll County, Carrollton, Augusta, all the way up through Alliance, the leading edge of this as it, you know, rolls towards Salem and Lisbon. That's where we're at. That's where we're at. New Philly, heavy rain. Man, is there some heavy rain. Hey, there's that, what we're just looking at. There's a tornado warning. Northern Carroll County. Northern Carroll County. Just looking at that little portion. We just put a scan on it. We're just now seeing those winds up there. Man, we were just looking at that. They were looking at, there it is. So there's some big wind. Tornado warning for 2:45. For Carroll County and moving east. Make sure the newsroom is up to date. There we go. This is probably straight line wind. Tyler, look at the radar scan from the velocity east of Paris. Yes, so you've got some big wind with that. That's probably like straight line wind damage with that. Look at that leading edge of that. Let me get the lightning off here so we can see what's going on. So we've got that tornado warning for basically for this portion right here. This is, you're going to see a little bit of a notch right there, so that's kind of inflow feeding it right there. Also, Tyler is talking about just this right here. You see all these little notches in here? You've got some big wind coming this way, and it might be just enough to give you a brief little spin up with it as it gets out of Stark County. Probably some straight line wind with that as well. So that's really what we're looking at. It's really tricky to pick them out with this activity. You can pull up a bunch of different products with it as well. This kind of tells us, it's our rotation detector. Essentially, it shows us where there's shear, essentially, within the thunderstorm, where things are going opposite directions, where it's spinning, essentially. And that's that portion right there. Actually, that's that portion right there where I think we would actually likely see one heading into like Eckley, north of Carrollton. And then this is probably going to have some broad rotation with this from Paris to Alliance. Don't know that it's quite tight enough to drop anything, but again, we're here, we're watching it. Definitely watching it. Yeah, there's Eckley right there. Phil, what's going on, man? Just issued a tornado warning for northern Carroll County. This line is, it's tough. It's very discreet. They're not discreet, but it's very like hidden, like where these are. Then after that, I mean, this whole thing just kind of shuts down. So I'm just going to stick with this for the next probably 30 to 45 minutes until it's out of our viewing area, and then we'll probably shut it down and let this kind of go on. But I was texting with production.
Okay.
We're good to go. We're good to go. Look at this. Look at this line. There's nothing. Whoop.
We're good.
Watch that cord. Watch that cord. This line. So you're looking at like velocity's finally starting to peak in there, but there's not much of really anything. You look at the shear rate, and it's just this little portion just north of Eckley, just where that little notch is.
How's it look from Pittsburgh?
This is Pittsburgh. Nope, it's not Pittsburgh. I was on Pittsburgh. Switched it back over. It's just that little.
Yeah. Yep.
That little notch in there. And you can look at the reflectivity or the velocity.
Yep.
So what we're looking at here, sorry guys, weather talk. This right there is an inflow essentially. That's what we're looking at when we're looking at these lines. When you look at storm chasers on TV and stuff, it looks nothing like this. They have one storm that's building and you've got your inflow essentially still and your outflow. It's easy to see. On these lines, these edges here, you're looking for something like that. You're looking for that little bit on the edge, just near Paris, potentially. Not nearly as defined as this right here, though. So that's what we're looking at. And then you throw in, I think we can look at storm relative. If we could get the severe thunderstorm warning off, we might be able to see what's going on in that. But there's so many lines in there. You're looking for red and green next to each other. So this takes out the direction of the radar. This adds in, it's just the direction of the storm. So it's storm relative, and you're looking for the red and the green. It's going to be near itself. Near, the closer that is, the more likelihood. Near Specht, near Augusta, north of Eckley. Let's put a quick track on this. It's moving about 40 miles per hour. So this thing is cruising. Ooh, I need to go a little farther than that. But basically, there's that next scan. All right, cool. Next scan, we'll slide this over a little bit more. And I'm going to track just the area of concern, the whole area, for the next, I mean, that's, yeah, Salineville. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. It's not in our viewing area, so I've probably never said it before. But northern Carroll County. Let me zoom out. I don't want to get too stuck on this one. I want to make sure we're looking at the rest of the area as well. Oh, get that off. There we go. The rest of the area doesn't look like we're seeing a whole lot more. But yeah, that one absolutely does. So this is the storm. Look how fast it just spun up within the last couple scans here. I'll just go for the last 15 minutes if I think I can do that. That'll be the last few scans. Right there. Right there. Watch it just slide right on in. Nope, next scan right there. Pushing out of Carroll County. Not nearly as defined, right? Not nearly as defined. But you still have that little bit of inflow right there. Watch this over the last 15 minutes. Boom, boom, boom. Real brief little spin ups there. Very brief. Very brief. We don't need to go on the air. It's out of the viewing area. Yeah, it's the edge of Carroll County, which is the end of our DMA. So yeah, no. I was already texting with Zach in production and stuff, so. Right, I just let him know. We're good. Thank you, though. So that being said, let's look at it. Let's dive into this. Right there. You got a quick little, all right, Pittsburgh. Let's see if we can pull in some, let's get to our dual pole data. Yeah, it's pretty evident, right? Kind of where, let's stop the motion for us. There we go. There we go. Now we're kind of looking inside of that storm, and we're looking for like the different colors, essentially. It detects debris. I'm not talking about we're seeing a whole lot of debris in there or anything like that, but the potential is still kind of there. We're looking for differing colors, essentially. We'll go back to the Pittsburgh radar here and show it just sliding into Summitville, northern Carroll County, Augusta, sliding on through, sliding on out of here. Elsewhere, let's see where we're at. Let's see if we got anything else trying to spin up or trying to give us any brief concerns. I do not want to forget about the rest of the area. Man, so much rain. All these comments. So keep the comments coming, folks. Keep the comments coming in here. I'm still watching them, but I wanted to give my full focus over to what was going on in northern Carroll County as that moves out of our viewing area. Again, if you're on here, if you got friends and family in there, we're no longer restricted by viewing area stuff, but one of our producers was walking in asking if we needed to cut in on TV, on regular TV, like on your TVs, News 5. No, because it's out of our viewing area, and we really, anybody down there doesn't get that signal. But you do get the stream, so we're going to keep the stream up. The stream is not, it's not held back by boundaries or anything like that. So we're going to keep watching this storm as it rolls through. Okay. Let's get on up here. Man, so many reports of like crazy rainfall, crazy lightning. It's all behind. It's all well behind. Velocity, there's not even a whole lot of wind with this stuff back to the north. So we're good. Brad, I'm not sure what this means. Stop saying tornado warnings that aren't even reported. No, it's all radar indicated. That's what we do. And then they go out and look at the reports later on. So that's what we're talking about with that stuff and the potential for it. I'm in Cleveland, so we're not here. So we want to let people know beforehand, before they get there. And then the National Weather Service will go out and kind of give it a rating if it does actually drop. So it's all about the potential. Youngstown, yeah, super sunny right now, probably looks absolutely gorgeous. It will not look that way for long.
Feels like you're walking in a swimming pool outside, though.
Super humid, super fueled. Temps on the back side of this, if you're wondering about the potential for more severe weather, I mean, we went from the mid-80s. We were at like 83, 84 in Cleveland before the rain rolled through, and now it's like lower and middle and upper 70s for the most part. There is some heat back there, so I can't rule out some thunder. This isn't the main front that's going to cool us off or drop our dew points yet, dry it out at all. It's still super humid. I mean, 75, 77 degree dew points, that's nuts, but super steamy for sure, but it'll be dropping. It'll be dropping tomorrow. All right, so here we go. What do we got left here? Severe thunderstorm warnings in effect along the entire leading edge with this, except for when you get north of like Stark County. Now Stark County is out of any issues, any severe weather. You're done with that. Northern Carroll County, your tornado threat, I want to be very clear, your tornado threat for northern, it's right there, for northern Carroll County. It is out of Carroll County. No more concern for you. If you live or have friends or family in Augusta, that's kind of where it went straight through. If it was on the ground, you've got Augusta, you've got Eckley. Between Augusta and Eckley, essentially kind of right on through there is where the potential we're going to see some damage reports. I will talk with the newsroom and see if we can gather some reports out of that. But the severe weather threat for Carroll County is over. Tornado threat and severe weather threats over. Southern Carroll County, I know you've got a warning, and you've got some gusts, maybe up to 60, but I think for the most part, Carroll County is pretty good. Tuscarawas County, just on the very tip, southern Tuscarawas County, Carroll County, and then sliding out of here. Jenny, yeah, you've got to watch until 8. Severe thunderstorm watch, that's this whole yellow box. But it'll be trimmed out. It'll be trimmed out to remove us, most likely. We're not going to be done with thunderstorms, but the severe weather threat is way down after we get this line rolling through here. I mean, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. This storm rolls through so quickly and just gets rid of our heat and our fuel. I can walk you through this. I can walk you through this real quickly, and we can walk through our futurecast and show you what's going on. Nate, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you, man. We all do. We all do. Don't forget it's a Sunday. It's not the work week yet.
Nothing out of Carroll County yet.
Okay.
So some good news.
Great news. All right, so it's 2:30. We'll go to 3 o'clock, and this line, I mean, Futurecast is pretty good with this. Shows it getting out of here. Now, are we done with thunderstorms? Like I said, no. But are we done with the severe weather threat? I know there's a watch that goes until 8 o'clock, but that was for this line as it's rolling through. So let's go forward a little bit farther. 4, 5 o'clock. Yeah, there's still general thunderstorms around that could get a bit spicy, but the severe weather threat, I mean, we're going to see some numbers that try to get back into the 80s. The severe weather threat's pretty low. Not enough for a watch or anything like that. It's too unorganized. And on the back side of this with a northwest wind trying to take over, I think things are going to be wet at times for sure, but I think things are going to be doing better. And then overnight tonight, how great is that? How great is that? I can zoom out even farther. That front, finally. All week it's been hanging out, just straddled across Ohio and Indiana. Finally getting out of here. And I think the rest of the week actually looks really, really good. I think it looks really, really good. Gotcha. Sorry, Brad. Sorry, Brad. I hear you, though. Back to the radar. Let's show you where we are. I thought you didn't want me to talk about the tornado warnings. I kind of have to, man. All right, New Philly, all the way back up through Carrollton, and then stretching back around to Alliance. Look at that, how it's bowed out like that. This whole line is, the top of this thunderstorm, this line is probably, 30,000 feet, if not even a little bit higher. So the upper level winds that aren't slowed down by friction, the upper level winds are on the back side of this thing, and they're cruising, and they hit that storm, and it pushes them down. So think of it as 3D, right? Think of it as a column of air, and it's pushing them down, and it's bowing out the leading edge of that, and that's where you're getting those, where it kind of pushes through those straight line winds. And with those straight line winds, if you're looking at a stream on like a river, on the edge, you'll get these little eddies. That's kind of what that is. They're little vortexes, little vortices essentially, little bookend vortices are really, not really necessarily that, but it's just a little spin up, pushing near Wellsville. I think this one goes north of Wellsville, pushing like East Liverpool, Ohioville, south of Rogers. Let me put the Pittsburgh radar on here.
Could be a little bit of broad rotation around Palmyra.
Yeah? It's possible. Let's put the Cleveland radar in here. Phil said, look at that little cell near Palmyra.
Be some broad rotation.
There's a little notch in there. A little bit. You got some opposites there. Good pick. Good find. Multiple eyes, extra eyes. Phil Sagel's in here. Watching the radar also. Long couple shifts, man. How late were you here last night?
About 2. So, yeah, it was the weirdest thing
Till about 2, he said. He was in here till 2 a.m. I'm telling you what, guys, if you ever want weather radar information or anything that's going on, something that wakes you up, we're here. We're always here. That's what we do. We're watching it. And now that we have this and the ability to stream on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and all that good stuff, the Instagram streaming is weird. It's wonky. But, yeah.
And if you want to support us, send us coffee.
Yeah, coffee. Oh, the coffee. All right, so on a serious note, this Palmyra stuff, broad rotation, there's no warning for it. There's no severe thunderstorm warning, which means there's likely no hail, of course. I can show you this right here. We can dive right into it. The reflectivity just isn't quite high enough for anything large. In order for a severe thunderstorm warning, you need 1-inch size hail or winds up to 60 miles per hour. There's not that much wind with this. I'll turn the lightning off. I'll pause this. We'll dive into it, and I'll click around. I'll show you. Deerfield, 50. Palmyra, 40. Some of this inflow here, which is the opposite direction. Yeah, it's just not even This is storm relative, very broad rotation with this. So it might strengthen. I mean, that being said, with a little bit of inflow on this, it might strengthen. But as far as something that's dropping anytime soon, not likely. But it is something to keep a close eye on.
And there was another tornado warning around Cambridge, which is south towards 70.
Yeah.
That's really out of our...
We saw, so this was all the way back. This whole line earlier from Baltimore, essentially. There was a couple warnings near there.
Yeah.
This whole line is just, that's what they do. So Phil just said there's another warning near Cambridge. So yeah, that's 77 and 70, a little interchange there under a tornado warning. But all this is out of our viewing area, so that's why we're not on TV, on your televisions right now, unless you're streaming, unless you're watching us on your Roku and stuff like that. So we are on all of that right now, but we're not on the actual News 5 Cleveland TV channel.
It's finally raining downtown.
Man, I tell you what, a little downpour. How about that?
Not a drop yesterday.
How about that? So Cleveland, we were talking about.
So I think the Guardians are delayed.
They have been delayed. We were talking about earlier this morning, I guess 2 hours ago when we started the stream about them. This has been going for almost 3 hours now. We were talking about, sorry, 1 second, if the game was going to get in or not, if it was going to be delayed or not. And it's just too close to tell, too close to call. Look at that, dumping. I heard it come in. I thought that's what we heard. Heavy rain. So 1 hour in, they were probably, I don't know if they ever took the tarps off.
It was 1:40 scheduled, so I think they're probably at least delayed till 3 at the very earliest, if not later now because of the rain.
They had these light little showers that were just clearing out, and right in the wake of those little showers. All right, so this is important. You see these little spin ups here. These not spin ups. These little pops, little thunderstorm bursts. The low is right over the lake. See how this is just kind of a big, broad spin over Lake Erie? What it's doing is it's kicking up these little bursts. Come on. So here's the whole thing. If you look closely, you can kind of see how it's spinning just a little bit. So this stuff is all kind of building out ahead of it. It's swinging it on through. And on the back edge of it, there's still a little bit of activity. Just trying to come on in here. Right there, stuff like that. Just tries to push on in. That's why the models are still hinting, once we get our winds, the flow to come more out of the northwest, there's some more activity up here. There's some more energy, some cooler air realistically. And what it's doing is it's diving underneath our super warm and humid air. And that's just going to lift it up enough and give us the potential for some more storms. But the severe threat is way lower later on today. But yeah, Cleveland getting dumped on right now. That stuff stayed about 2 miles south of the stadium until now. And then that burst coming in off of the lake.
Sounds about right. We're going to have to get this game in. It's against San Diego.
They're not coming back. Yeah.
So they might be having a 4 o'clock start rather than a 1:40.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's that vortex right over the lake.
Little bitty guy. So you get these little waves kind of embedded in the low. So you get the low, you get the counterclockwise flow around the big low. That's the main low that's rolling through, the main storm system. And wrapped around that, you get these little, if you heard him say vortexes, these little upper level, go about 5,000 feet up. You get these little kinks, these little spins in the atmosphere. And that's kind of what that little guy right there is doing right there. It's just enough to kick up some heavy rain like what you're seeing right there. Elsewhere, it's light rain in Akron. Man, we talked about on Friday the air show, and we talked a lot about Sunday. We got a good window, about an hour, maybe hour and a half of flying in before that storm rolled in. Now it's just rain showers. They fly, it's like noon to 4, I think is the time, so that they might be done with flying in Akron because there's still some showers and it's almost 3 o'clock. Yep. And I think the severe weather threat for Carroll County is over. Your winds have backed off a ton. Stark County has been over.
How bad's the lightning doing?
There's not a bunch. I mean, it's way behind it.
Yeah.
It's way like, it's just like stratiform rain, and it's just way behind it. So probably going to get some with this little Cleveland burst as it tries to rotate on through the east side. Little Italy, the feast. Man, tough. Tough. We said how safe. Somebody asked how safe Little Italy was, how safe the feast was. It's pretty safe. I mean, there's no warnings with it, but man, that's some heavy rain. So that's what we're dealing with. You want the microphone, man? You want to still cover this stuff? I mean, we're still talking about some rain. There are hundreds of people in here, so I am going to actually tag fill in. We're gonna pass off the microphone. Bear with us. Oh, I should have probably muted this. It's gonna sound crazy going through my. Sorry about that. Yeah, don't worry about it. Thank you guys. Appreciate everything. If you guys have any more questions, feel free to go. Feel free to just send them on out there.
All righty. Yeah, we're still looking at maybe a couple of warnings well to our south, but overall things have definitely been much quieter within the last 15 or 20 minutes or so. So that is some good news, but still some flooding concerns, especially over the next at least a couple of hours with some of the stratiform rain beginning to move back in. So yeah, we're not quite out of the woods completely with regards to inclement weather. So there still might be a little bit more flooding. I know parts of at least the southern half of Tuscarawas County into Carroll County yesterday definitely had a fair amount of rain, a couple inches within about an hour, maybe even an hour and a half, definitely causing some concerns there. But as far as the severe risk, thankfully things are going down as far as wind, and we'll be tracking some rain at least for the next couple of hours here in northeast Ohio for the end of the afternoon for the second half of your Sunday into the overnight tonight. So a little bit more rain and a lot more potential of a little bit more in the way of some flooding concerns. I know a lot of the area has certainly seen a fair amount of rain within the last 5 to 7 days, and unfortunately more flooding where we don't need the flooding, especially around the I-70 corridor just east of Columbus. They had catastrophic flooding just a few days ago, more catastrophic flooding, unfortunately, for parts of Perry, Muskingum County, also into Guernsey County, and even into parts of the I-77 corridor, especially around Tuscarawas County, and just east of that in Carroll County. But as far as greater Cleveland, Akron, Canton is concerned, yeah, it's going to be raining, but there won't be hopefully a lot of issues with regards to flooding, thankfully. But for the time being, definitely need to keep in mind those raindrops and some rumbles of thunder still with us for the next couple of hours, and the threat kind of at least popping back up a little bit further off towards the west as we get into the latter half of this afternoon. So still a little bit of rain kind of popping back in to parts of western Ohio, but nothing really particularly at least worrisome with some of these raindrops to the west of at least I-71, but the chance will still be there for the rest of this afternoon. So if you know anyone heading down to downtown Cleveland for those festivities going on, we'll probably see a little bit more of a break as far as some rain is concerned at times, but the threat, unfortunately, still consistent with some at least isolated to scattered raindrops for the rest of this afternoon. But the main focus for severe weather, thankfully, starting to taper off as that continues to move further and further out of the News 5 viewing area. Still a couple more warnings, at least further south into parts of Carroll County. That at least severe thunderstorm warning will continue for a little bit more into the southern half of Carroll County till about 3:15, and then the extreme eastern half of Tuscarawas County under that warning as well. But thankfully, things looking a lot better here in most of northeast Ohio as we do round out the 2 o'clock hour. So still a little bit more, at least problematic rain with maybe some rumbles of thunder as we get into the latter half of the 2 o'clock hour. But I think most of this should be winding down as we get closer to about 3:15 once that warning is set to expire. So some good news there. But if you're heading anywhere south of Dover, New Philly within the next hour or so, you definitely want to grab at least a little bit more time as that threat for more, at least heavy rain continues to be an issue down I-77 towards the central half of the state. So probably travel would not be advised if you are going to be going from anywhere from Canton to Dover, New Philly, and point south within the next hour or so, as that rain going to be particularly heavy here in Northeast Ohio late this afternoon. So as far as Greater Cleveland is concerned, unfortunately still some of that rain lingering throughout the next probably hour or so, with the isolated threats continuing to move back into at least the shoreline. Some very, very heavy rain continues here in downtown Cleveland, but no real lightning, at least for the moment. There might be a rumble or two of thunder, a possibility. So if you know anyone maybe at the Guardians game, hopefully we'll get that game in sooner than later, but the chance for some rain still maybe delays some of that game for the rest of the afternoon. The fest going on this afternoon in Little Italy. We've got a bunch of at least outdoor activities going on across Greater Cleveland. I think we'll have some dry time, but unfortunately still that rain chance for the next at least hour, hour and a half here in Northeast Ohio. So a little bit more, at least substantial rainfall, I should say, within the next hour, hour and a half, and more kind of that isolated few once we get past about 3, 4 o'clock. So still some rain, some rumbles of thunder to contend with, but the main severe threat thankfully starting to go back down once we do round out the at least the 3 o'clock hour. Certainly some good news there. So we'll probably stick around for another maybe about a half an hour, make sure we get all of those warnings out of our viewing area within the next half hour. Okay, check 1, 2, check. Okay, not quite sure what happened there. So yeah, Stark County definitely not really seeing too much in the way of any problems with regards to severe weather. Medina County, a little bit more maybe thunder possibility, but we're not really seeing too much more. But certainly a lot of that thunder was certainly very, very, at least on the noisy side, as there's a lot of at least potential for some lightning within the last hour or so. So let's kind of roll you back about an hour as that line kind of moved through most of Medina County. And thankfully things are pushing further and further east as we get to the end of this afternoon. Dover, you're definitely going to see a little bit more heavy rain, some rumbles of thunder, but as far as your severe threat, very, very minimal right now. Most, if not all of that severe wind well to your south and east around Uricksville into at least parts of Carroll County. We're not under that warning anymore, but I think the further south you are of Uricksville towards Rush and the southern half of Tuscarawas County, still maybe some stronger winds, but as far as Dover is concerned, just some general rain and perhaps some rumbles of thunder still with us, at least for the next about 45 minutes to maybe an hour before things start to improve. So the good news is most of the I-77 corridor starting to at least improve, but very slowly the further south you are of I-70. So definitely some potential of some rain, at least for the next hour or two around Dover, New Philly. And Samantha, you are very, very welcome. Stay safe. And Middleburg Heights, some rain out there, but not really talking too much, at least catastrophic rain for the time being. There might be maybe a few more heavy downpours across Middleburg Heights, but certainly not a lot of severe risk at all for the next several hours, if any, actually. So that is some good news, but there might be some rumbles of thunder, so kind of take it easy if you're going to be maybe venturing outside for the end of this afternoon into this evening. Samantha, I completely empathize, understand. Yeah, storms, they're not fun sometimes, and I understand completely. We are looking at, thankfully, everything calming down, and we're just looking at some general rain for the rest of this afternoon, maybe a few rumbles of thunder, but overall, definitely a lot more quiet weather in the forecast for the rest of this week, because I, for one, am done with tracking severe weather. It's been a long week, and we just need some quiet, sunny, maybe 75, 76 degrees, low humidity. Anyone agree with that? I think that might not be a bad idea to have a lot of that sunshine returning to parts of Northeast Ohio over the next couple of days, as the threat will be there for a little bit of rain, at least for the day today, but much quieter weather anticipated for your Monday, with those humidity levels finally getting back to more comfortable, at least readings, for the start of this new week. So certainly some good news this week as well. So thankfully all of this humidity will gradually be squeegeed away with our cold front arriving later tonight, but still some rain chances, a few rumbles of thunder between now and then. So just kind of keep in mind, those umbrellas might be at least a good thing to keep in mind if you're out and about. But as far as the severe risk, things are certainly quieting down as we get into the middle part of this afternoon and into this evening. So thankfully, not going to see anything as far as severe weather across most of Northeast Ohio. but still that rain potential will be with us for the next probably 4 or 5 hours before things begin to quiet down once again. So we'll stick around until about 3:15, kind of keeping an eye on things. We got a new flood advisory for Holmes County, and that goes through about, let's see, okay, get the watch off of there. See what time at, yeah, so flooding I think is going to be a little bit more of a bigger issue, unfortunately, for the rest of this afternoon. So that Holmes County flood advisory, meaning some low-lying areas, any areas that really don't drain too well, potentially could be a little bit more flooded. Some heavy rain could cause some issues on some of the roadways, but that goes to about 5 o'clock, so another couple hours on some of those, at least advisories. But the further south you are, unfortunately, the more rain they've seen in the last several days, and that's going to cause some more bigger issues. I've seen a lot of unfortunate visuals out of especially Perry County, where parts of Crooksville has seen well over a foot of rain in a day about a week ago, and unfortunately they're looking at still a lot of flooding issues for Perry and Muskegon County within the last week. So unfortunately still an issue down that way, but things will start to quiet down. A lot more lightning along I-77 just south of Doverney-Philly towards the West Virginia border, and that's pretty much the worst of the storm right now in and around Ohio. But the further north you are of Doverney-Philly, Akron, Canton, you'll be good to go. Just some rain with a little bit of that thunder out there, but as far as anything dangerous with regards to severe winds or anything tornadic, that is moving well to the east, now approaching the West Virginia Panhandle within the next hour or two. Columbus, Andrew, that potential for maybe a little bit more isolated, a few raindrops. I know you guys had a tornado warning yesterday, a little bit before 11 o'clock last night, and the potential will be there for some rain, maybe some lightning, but nothing as far as severe weather or anything tornadic anticipated, thankfully, for the end of the day today. So just kind of keep in mind you might need those umbrellas if you're going to be out and about around Columbus for the afternoon and into this evening. So certainly some rain chances across the board, but nothing as far as particularly severe weather in anticipation within the next couple of hours, as this main line kind of took a lot of that at least instability with it, and things are starting to cool down a little bit with that west-northwesterly wind, as kind of Trent was mentioning, for the rest of this afternoon. So that kind of stabilizes things a little bit more, but still some rain, maybe some heavy rain. If you've walked outside within the last hour, it is still very, very muggy out there. I pretty much instantaneously sweated as I got out of my car when I got into the station this afternoon. So yeah, the humidity still going to be a little bit more atrocious between now and the end of this evening, but once we get past about 10, 11, 12 o'clock tonight, we'll start to feel that humidity going back down. So that is certainly some good news, as we've seen a lot of this humidity just kind of at least pummel most of Ohio with a lot of heavy, steady rain within the last couple of days. But still a little bit more isolated rain potential out there across western Ohio, just north of Lima. Salina into Sidney, Troy, just north of Dayton, maybe a little bit of light rain. But as far as the severe risk, thankfully things going down completely for the most part, other than maybe some lightning and maybe a little bit more at least isolated flooding for the rest of this afternoon into this evening. Rain is all you're going to really deal with in Geauga County right now. So not a lot of folks worried about thunder in and around parts of Geauga County, other than maybe towards the Parkman area. A few rumbles of thunder that way, but not really dealing with a lot of thunder right now. So that shows me that the instability kind of goes down as this line continues to move through. So there will definitely be some heavy rain, continuing seeing some of that rain from downtown Cleveland up to the I-77 or I-271 corridor, just around Euclid towards Lyndhurst, Orange, just outside of Solon. And a lot of that rain, unfortunately, is going to be a bigger issue rather than at least severe weather for the rest of this afternoon in Geauga County. So still some rain, kind of keeping things, unfortunately, not great outside. Bad storms, Pam, I don't see a lot of. There'll be some heavy rain, maybe some rumbles of thunder, but I think most, if not all of us, pretty much out of the woods with regards to severe weather for the rest of this afternoon. But there's still some rain potential between now and the end of this evening. So the threat is still kind of there for some rain. Tornadic development down in Columbiana County. Things are thankfully starting to at least get a little bit more boisterous towards the area of around Belmont County right now. So not really too much as far as parts of Harrison towards Jefferson. And Columbiana County, there's maybe a little bit more wind in your direction, but not necessarily looking at a lot of potential of some tornadic development, as most, if anything, with regards to tornadic development would kind of be on the outside or the first line of this line as it continues to move further eastward. So I think Columbiana County and in around Lisbon, I think you're good to go. So just maybe some rain, some rumbles of thunder that you're going to contend with. But as far as anything tornadic, I'm not seeing that, thankfully, as we get into the afternoon hours. More storms. Yeah, there'll be potential for some rumbles of thunder, Joey. Maybe a little more of a heavy downpour at times, but as far as severe weather, it is not looking as likely for the rest of this afternoon as this main line continues to push further east into Pennsylvania and also into West Virginia. So that's going to be pretty much the worst of the weather for the rest of this afternoon, as this line was definitely packing a punch here in northeast Ohio between about lunchtime and just before 3 o'clock. So a lot of these storms are thankfully moving out of our viewing area here in the News 5 region. So we're just looking at some general rain, some rumbles of thunder, but still a lot of active weather just to the south around parts of the I-70 corridor. That's going to be pretty much the worst of it for the rest of the 3 o'clock hour. So we'll give ourselves another couple minutes, and we'll see pretty much this stream on its way out, as most of these storms are clearing our at least viewing area right now. And I'm not really seeing too much to worry about even into Dover, New Philadelphia, and Point South. So around Uricksville, yeah, there's going to be some at least issues with some rain, and you're technically under a severe thunderstorm warning, but most of the worst of that line of storms is well outside of Tuscarawas County right now. So there will be maybe some lightning, some maybe heavy downpours for the rest of this at least issue with some of these raindrops between now and about 3:30, but I don't think anything significantly severe will be inundating most of Tuscarawas County. So that is some good news. Just some lightning to kind of be aware of, and some heavy rain if you are going to be traveling in and around parts of at least Dover, New Philadelphia. Sam, you are very, very welcome. I understand completely. Severe weather is not my favorite thing to cover at all. I hope to never do it again, but unfortunately, Mother Nature doesn't tend to listen to me sometimes. So yeah, I understand. Severe weather is not the greatest of things, and we're here to keep you guys safe. We're always going to be here for you to kind of make sure that everybody is in the know with regards to potential of any stronger storms, which is thankfully going back down as we get into the next couple of days. The storms, they've been so bad because we've just kind of had a front that's just kind of stalled out over the last several days, and that is kind of the focal point for a lot of these storms to kind of form. And we've had a lot of moisture, and there's definitely some warm air south of that boundary and some very cooler air toward the north. So that's kind of the big mix of that potential of at least some stronger storms. We've finally started to see that moving out of the region towards the end of the day today. So thankfully things will be much, much quieter for most of this week. I still think we'll see some rain, especially on Wednesday, but overall things are looking much, much drier and less humid for the rest of this week. So that is some definite good news there, as a lot of folks are needing to see some drier weather for the end of this week for sure. So a lot of these raindrops slowly starting to move out of the News 5 viewing area right now. So west of I-77, not really looking at too much more in the way of rain by any stretch, but the chance will be there for some more isolated, at least showers, maybe some rumbles of thunder out there. But as far as severe potential, it is very, very, very minimal across the western half of the state, and we'll see that potential for a little bit more rain between now and the end of this evening, but not anticipating anything really particularly strong and or severe. So we'll give a little bit more time between about now and 3:15, and we'll see most, if not all, of the I-77 corridor between Cleveland and Tuscarawas County pretty much out of the woods, and then we'll give that all clear for the News 5 viewing area with regards to severe weather. But unfortunately, still this big line moving back into western Pennsylvania around Beaver Falls, and now making its way towards Pittsburgh within the next 45 minutes or so. And yeah, another little spin up potentially just now into Pennsylvania along that main line, and that is still causing some big issues with that potential of some severe winds, if not maybe another spin up in and around parts of Pennsylvania and the further south towards Wheeling, even into at least southern parts of Ohio. Still a chance for maybe a few more spin-ups. So if you know anyone down towards the Wheeling area, Belmont County, that potential will still linger for the rest of this afternoon between now and about 4, maybe even 5 o'clock. And thankfully just kind of outside the Marietta area with regards to any severe weather, so at least not getting too much further south than the West Virginia line. But overall, this is my biggest concern for anything strong to severe well outside of the News 5 viewing area. Just east of Cambridge, now making its way into Wheeling, so kind of in between both of those points right now. And then this line just now starting to make its way into the western half of Pennsylvania. So a little bit more severe weather, at least here in Ohio necessarily, but not a lot of at least issues, thankfully, here in northeast Ohio for the rest of this afternoon and into this evening. But the chance for some rain still kind of out there. Looking at still some raindrops kind of popping back into western Ohio around Defiance, towards Lima, Bellefontaine. Maybe a little bit of rain just to the north of Urbana. And I'll be tracking a few more of these raindrops for the next couple of hours, but nothing severe anticipated for the rest of this afternoon. So that is some good news for a lot of folks that are maybe just kind of sick and tired of some rain, which has not been at least lacking, to say the least, for the last half of this week. So that potential for a little bit more stronger weather will continue within the next probably 10 or 15 minutes. Well to the south of most of the News 5 area. So Uricksville, just some rumbles of thunder towards Rush. The Tuscarawas-Guernsey County line is pretty much where you're going to see a little bit more in the way of lightning and points southward. So I think Tuscarawas County, you're pretty much in the clear. Nothing really to worry about as far as severe weather as that main line continues to move further eastward. And I'll be talking a little bit more in the way of maybe some rumbles of thunder. But as far as Tuscarawas County is concerned, I think you're all clear with regards to severe weather, even the further south you are of Dover, New Philly, despite still kind of being in that warning for the next nearly half an hour. I anticipate them to probably cut that down a little bit with the main focus kind of well ahead of the main line towards the southern half of the I-77 corridor into parts of West Virginia. So most, if not all of us, on the at least quieter side. Still some rain, some rumbles of thunder out there, and we'll give ourselves another couple minutes for the at least all clear. Cleveland, Sawyer, we're going to see some rain. The threat is very, very minimal for at least the next couple of minutes for anything as far as lightning is concerned, but the chance will still be there for maybe a rumble or two of thunder. But right now, downtown Cleveland starting to see a little bit of a break. Just to the east, along probably at least East Cleveland, towards Shaker Heights, Highland Hills, in and around Mayfield, towards Gates Mills. That's pretty much your bullseye with regards to at least some heavy downpours. But you'll notice there's no real lightning with this as far as most of eastern Cuyahoga County is concerned. So the chance for some rain will still be there, and hopefully we'll start to dry out things across downtown Cleveland, as I know a lot of things are going on. We got the ball game going on hopefully sooner than later with the Padres still in town. We got to get that game in for sure because they're not coming back to Cleveland anytime soon. Cuyahoga County Fair last day as well, and then the feast in Little Italy. Hopefully folks are at least keeping dry right now because this rain has really been substantial across the eastern half of Greater Cleveland within the last half hour or so. So most, if not all of this, started to quiet down, but I can't rule out a little bit of rain for the afternoon into this evening, as we still have a little bit of that rain kind of in and along the lake shore. So there might be a couple waves of some isolated chances of some raindrops, maybe a few rumbles of thunder for the next hour or hour and a half before things start to quiet down a little bit more. But you'll notice to the west, not really showing signs of anything significant. All that severe weather thankfully pushing eastward into western Pennsylvania. So 99.9% of us severe free for the rest of this afternoon here in the News 5 viewing area across northeast Ohio. So still a little bit of rain, some rumbles of thunder along I-77, but the main focus for anything strong and severe is pushing further east of our viewing area, which is certainly some good news. But folks, if you're going to be at least moving south and further east into parts of southern Ohio or into western Pennsylvania throughout the afternoon, you might want to delay that a little bit because that severe potential still lingers out there. But I think if you're traveling down I-77 from Cleveland towards Dover, New Philly, you'll just encounter maybe a little bit of light to moderate rain, but overall not really anticipating much more severe weather here in northeast Ohio. So we'll give ourselves another few minutes, and then we'll end this stream for the day today, as we've been going strong for over 3 hours. Thankfully, things are quieting down for the end of this afternoon, and a big thanks to all you watching, commenting, giving us some feedback on regards to all these storms. We appreciate you guys more than you know, as we're definitely here for you, and we're keeping you guys a little bit more in the know with regards to that rain and severe potential throughout the afternoon. But things are certainly very, very quiet. Yes, Samantha, I do. Phil Sakal, Philsakal is my Facebook page. If you guys want to follow me along, I'll definitely have more information as we get into the next several days on the nice, cool weather that will hopefully start to move into northeast Ohio with some lower humidity, which is very, very good to hear, as I know a lot of folks probably sick and tired of that tropical humidity throughout the latter half of last week into this week. So yeah, my Facebook page, Phil Sakal, Philsakal is my Facebook page. If you want to give me a follow, like, I greatly appreciate it. And thanks for having at least a lot of us on the stream this afternoon. We greatly appreciate that. And we'll hopefully have a little bit less in the way of at least some inclement weather to talk about for the next several days. Samantha, thank you. Greatly appreciate that. Staying safe. And we'll get through this as we usually do here in Northeast Ohio. Yeah, fall can't get here soon enough. I actually said to myself a couple days ago, I kind of miss winter. I only said it for a few seconds. I was not a fan of driving through the snow last winter, but at least we didn't have to worry about severe weather last winter. So, yeah, it'll be here before we know it. We're getting closer and closer to the end of August right now, and September usually is one of those great months to be here in Northeast Ohio, and we'll hopefully see that come to fruition as we get into the end of August and into the month of September. But, yeah, a lot less humidity is certainly something I'll be a big fan of once we get into the latter half of the overnight tonight through the day tomorrow. So a lot of folks out there seeing things quieting down across Northeast Ohio. We'll give ourselves a couple more minutes here. And thankfully, things are looking much, much quieter for the end of the day today. All right, so just a little bit more of that rain moving back into the I-77 corridor, and the threat will definitely be going down with regards to any more, at least widespread rain. There's still that flood advisory for Holmes County till about 5 o'clock this afternoon for a little bit of low-lying areas, maybe a bit of some at least areas that don't really drain too well, so overpasses, at least the overpasses, could potentially be a little bit more at least rainy at times with some of those flooding issues, but overall things will definitely be a little bit quieter with regards to flooding as we get into the afternoon and evening today, but the threat will still be there for the end of the afternoon through the overnight tonight. Is a little bit more isolated potential of some raindrops and through this evening. All righty. So let's see here. Yep, everybody pretty much out of the area right now with regards to severe weather, so I think we'll wrap this one up. Thank you guys very much for all the comments and all the at least continuing support, and we'll definitely be looking at some quieter weather this afternoon. Hopefully you'll tune in to News 5 at 6. We'll bring you some more details on the potential for a little bit more of that cooler air returning during the overnight tonight, and maybe a little bit more in the way of some cooler nights for the rest of this week. So hopefully you stay tuned for that. Until then, stay safe, and thank you very much.